It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Jeff Jarvis is here, Stacey Higginbotham, Ant Pruitt, and yes, I'm back in the saddle, as it were. We will talk about Google's quarterly results and how they compare to, let's say, I don't know, Microsoft. We also have a story about teens and social media. What is causing teens to be so anxious these days? Is it social media? And the blue check, now that's making me anxious. All of that and a lot more coming up next on This Week in Google.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twig. This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 713, recorded Wednesday, April 26th, 2023. Creased Cargo shorts. This episode of This Week in Google is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. Whether you're starting a new business or growing one, if you want it to be successful, you need the most talented people on your team. That's where ZipRecruiter comes in. And right now, you can try it for free. ZipRecruiter.com/twig. And by HPE GreenLake, orchestrated by the experts at CDW, who can help you consolidate and manage all your data in one flexible edge-to-cloud platform to scale and innovate. Learn more at cdw.com/HPE. And by Cisco Meraki, with employees working in different locations, providing a unified work experience seems about as easy as herding cats. How do you rein in so many moving parts? I'll tell you how. The Meraki Cloud Managed Network. Learn how your organization can make hybrid work work. Visit meraki.cisco.com/twit. It's time for Twig This Week in Google, the show where we cover the latest news from the Googleverse, the Metaverse, the Twitterverse, such as it is. Stacey Higginbotham is here. Hello, Stacey. Wow, your hair changed since I've been gone.
Oh, yeah.
New color.
I turned it pink.
It's pretty. I like it.
Thank you.
Yes. You never know what we're going to get. My hair color, unfortunately, unchanged. Jeff Jarvis, let's see if he's still the silver fox. He sure is. Hello, Jeff.
Hello. How are you?
Leonard Tao, Professor for Journalistic Innovation at Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. I like a choir from heaven. That was like a choir from heaven. Mm-hmm. Jeff, deepest condolences. I know your dad passed while we were gone.
Thank you so sorry.
Much. So sorry.
Thank you so much.
97?
97.
Holy cow.
I wrote about him on Buzz Machine, folks. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And COVID. Sad.
COVID.
Yeah.
COVID.
Was it, what do they call the new one? Abraxas? No, there's a name for it.
No, I don't know. It was got it December 30th and then was hospitalized 3 times.
Oh, it was a long time.
Successive thing happened. Yeah.
Oh, so he got it late last year and it just dragged out.
He was fully vaccinated. He had internal bleeding first, got out of the hospital, went back in with post-COVID pneumonia, which is a certain kind of pneumonia, and got out of the hospital, went to rehab, got home for 11 days, went back in with pneumonia again, and that was that.
I'm so sorry.
So,
well,
97 years.
Condolences. I guess, if there's any...
We buried him in my sister's, his ashes in my sister's former church. She's being a minister. And we put a bottle of gin in with him.
What kind?
Excellent choice.
Yes.
Outstanding. Yes.
There was something on the Arcturus. That's it, yeah. There was something, Stacey, I really enjoyed on the trip. When you're on a cruise ship, you have to establish a drink so that you get it automatically every day. And there was something called a Bramble, Braemble, which...
Those are delicious.
You've had them.
She's mentioned that on the show.
Them.
There's now somebody who Bramble.com that has taken gin and blackberry liqueur and married it together, and you could buy a bottle of it. And that's what we were drinking. It was fantastic. So that's an actual beverage, but that you make by hand, and so that's probably a good idea because you can choose the gin. But this way...
Yeah, the cocktail is a Bramble, but this is a liqueur, which would be fun.
Well, it's just like the cocktail. I mean, it's basically gin and blackberry liqueur. So, yeah, I loved it. That was my beverage. I was shamed because a couple of years ago, I went on a riverboat trip drank an Aperol Spritz. Somebody said, yeah, cruise drink. So I couldn't have that anymore. But then we get to Rome. That's all they drink in Rome. Every table, bright orange, Aperol Spritzers. So
that's a great drink because you can have a lot of them. They're
they're not highly alcoholic.
I mean,
yeah. And they're tasty. It's basically alcoholic tang, basically.
That is true.
But not made by NASA.
But
wait,
maybe
was Tang made by
NASA? Yeah. Well, they say that. I don't know. That's
okay.
Hey, look at that. It's Aunt Pruitt from Hands On Photography, patiently waiting for us to stop talking about silly beverages so that he can have another
he can have a few sips of his own.
Abnabura Brunda.
No, this was espresso.
Oh,
no.
You like you know what? I have to say this, Aunt. You get a chance. The best coffee I've ever had, and we've had coffee all over the world in, Arabia, where it came from, in South America, in France. The best coffee I've ever had is Rome, ever, consistently.
I believe you.
Unbelievable. They invented espresso. So
right. I was going to say, well, espresso comes from there. So they probably know what they're doing.
We went to
Is it illegal to ask for decaf?
Oh.
No, actually, you know what?
You can't ask for a cappuccino after like noon.
No, they won't. No milk in it. But I found out what the order is because our guide, who is Roman, said you get an espresso con latte frio or calde if you want hot, but latte frio. She says, I like it, and I put a little cold milk in my espresso. So you're allowed to do that. That's okay. So I was ordering espressos con latte frio afternoon. You're exactly right, though, Stacey. They think you're American or something. If you have a cappuccino.
Crazy.
Yeah. Best coffee ever. I miss it. I really miss it. We actually did. It was so a lot of it's Lavazza, which you can get. So I ordered some Lavazza beans. I'm just going to, I'll bring them to work. You can try them. All right. But that's enough of that. We got so much to talk about. Oh my God. It's crazy. I guess we should start with Alphabet's earnings because this week they announced their quarterly earnings. And there was good and bad. It beat for the first quarter. That means it beat the stock market's expectation. They're going to do a 70 billion share buyback. That means they got some cash on hand. Revenue was 10 cents more a share than expected, $1.17 a share. That's $69.79 billion. But there were some dark spots. YouTube advertising revenue went down. Not didn't grow as fast, actually went down to $6.6 billion.
A scotch. Just a scotch.
A scooch.
A scooch.
A scooch.
Scooch.
A little bit. It went down a little bit. Google Cloud revenue went up a little bit. Just the same scooch. Just to offset it.
But it's profitable. That's big.
Yeah, $6.7 billion. And Cloud for the first time is profitable. You're right.
Yeah.
That's a huge
this was
deal.
The first time. That's a big deal
Huge
for them.
Deal.
Because they're sucking wind at the cloud.
They've been an also-ram to Amazon and Microsoft, right? Those are the two big ones.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's been hard going for Google. Microsoft's earnings came out. I don't remember what their number was, but I think it was bigger than $7.5 billion.
I wonder what was the push that made it actually profitable for them finally.
I'm going to guess AI. What do you think, Stacey?
Maybe I truly don't know. I mean, their AI is internal, so I don't know their internal accounting policies towards that. It may just be that they also cut some products. No, they cut some products in the cloud. So they're not supporting some IoT products and things that they were not as good at or didn't have customers in.
Yeah.
So it could also be that.
They took a write-off for layoffs.
Oh, yes. Billions.
Leases and all that.
Yeah.
But
$2.6 billion in charges related to layoffs and office space reduction.
The Journal has a story saying that Google is all about cost control now.
Yeah. Well, we know that.
That's everything, which is, I mean, okay. It makes the market happy, but I'd prefer they also had some innovation in there, too.
So Google's revenue on cloud was $7.5 billion. Microsoft's revenue on cloud was $52.9 billion.
Whoa.
That'll give you an idea. Microsoft's not even the biggest. AWS.
And do we know what Amazon's is?
They didn't do their earnings yet, right? I don't think their earnings
They haven't done them yet.
And I should point out, profit.
$62 billion. in 2021.
Okay. So they're not that much bigger. That's interesting. Huh? Microsoft's really gaining on them. Microsoft also, I'm sure, did well because of AI. Both Microsoft and Google have, what are the TPUs, special processors designed?
I think Microsoft said like 1% of their revenue in the cloud came from AI.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong then.
Which is, well, no, that's not insignificant.
Yeah. It's going to be bigger and
considering
bigger.
how small or how young it is. Yeah.
That's the point we've made, because Microsoft, of course, owns half of OpenAI, but better than that, if you're going to generate these massive large language models, you're going to do it in the cloud. And, I think the competition is really between Microsoft and Google for that. Sorry, Ant, go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just saying the AI side of it is brand new to them. So I wouldn't expect it to be a huge number.
Exactly. But in future, it would probably get bigger. Profit on cloud. So Google lost a year ago $706 million on Google Cloud. They finally made their first ever profit, $191 million. Not billions, but hey,
it's smart.
Better than losing money. Revenue in other bets. That's life sciences, Verily. That's Waymo. Next. Yeah, it was $440 million last year, $288 million this year.
Well, but they also pulled out DeepMind from other bets, it looks like.
Oh, okay.
Well, they merged DeepMind.
Yeah, I focus on other bets because of like Nest, so I can see how insignificant
Smart Home
is.
Yeah. They don't break it out, though, do they?
No, not the hardware, no.
Yeah.
But as you can see, this is why Google's like, yeah, I'm not going to support those other smart displays. And
yeah, the heck with that. Yeah. Search and other revenue came in at $40 billion. That's up a skosh from 39.62. Up a skosh. But ad sales, not so good, right? Ad sales on YouTube and let me see if they have the ad sales for search. I think search ad sales were not great either. Ad revenue beat analyst expectations but fell from year prior to $54.55 billion. Must be nice though. Oh yeah, we it wasn't quite as big. It was only $54 billion, and this is 3 months. This is not a year. Traffic acquisition costs went up as well. I have to say, though, looking at Microsoft, which is also, for the most part, very positive, only Xbox and Bing didn't do that well. But I have to say, I feel like Microsoft's starting to gain ground on Google. Or am I wrong on that?
Wait, Microsoft is gaining ground on Google?
Yes.
In what?
Cloud revenue up 22%. Per share earnings up 10%. Quarterly revenue, 7%. LinkedIn revenue, 8%. They're firing on all cylinders. I know. Well, it's ad sales.
Man, LinkedIn is making money.
Yeah.
Well, they've got premium. They've got ads. They've got resume services, I think.
Yep.
I've just not heard anything positive about LinkedIn in a long time. It seems like
I love LinkedIn.
I love it too, but there's definitely a lot of scamming and spamming happening over there on that platform, way more than it used to.
Depends on how you use it. If you're going for a job, that's useful. If you're looking up your colleagues and your competitors, that's useful. If you're wandering the feed, you're right, Dan.
Yeah.
I actually get a lot of content, like good quality audience on my stories.
I used to get most of my business from there.
Wow.
How about Twitter? Do you guys like Twitter? I've heard this is a pretty exciting happening.
Are we now calling it X, or what are we doing here?
The company is X, right? It's no longer, that was last week's news, but I don't know. I don't want to talk about Elon.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
Sure. We have so much else we could talk about. We had to on Twit on Sunday because Elon had such a bad week. But let me put it this way. Have you guys noticed, because of this blue check thing, is there any difference? Because I know, Stacey, you love the content you get on Twitter. Is there any difference? Has the blue check thing changed anything?
Not for me.
Yeah, some of the replies and things, I really Twitter has become less and less useful. So I'll just be honest. I don't spend much time there.
Hasn't really changed for me. It's just, again, it's more and more broadcast for me.
I'm disappointed to see some people bought the check, the $8 schmuck.
Yeah, boy, and you really
value out of it.
There's a whole movement to block the check, right?
Yep.
There are those who say anybody who bought a check is probably a low value Twitter person to follow because they had to basically promote their tweets. So
I think the problem is people are looking at that as them buying a check versus it being someone that wants a ad list or lower ads in their Twitter experience or wanted to be able to
edit
button or whatnot. You know, for most people, it had squat to do.
Well,
check mark.
Okay, now we do have to wade into this, and I don't know if this number is valid, but I keep seeing it. The net gain when they took away the blue checks of people buying the blue checks was 28.
Yeah, crazy low. Yeah,
little more than 24 total.
Yeah.
So it wasn't.
20. Wait, what?
You didn't see this?
Figure out the math on that.
I know it's a little weird, and it was a study, and I don't know by some guy, but I've seen the number quoted again and again. This is, everybody quoted it, but let me show you the original. This is from Ben Collins. Oh, okay.
Who's really good. That's great.
But maybe he got it from somebody else. Oh, yeah, he got it
from somebody else.
From Travis Brown, who I don't know who he is when he's at home. And this is in one day. But in other words...
Let us read it. Yeah.
Update for the day after. Just before the purge yesterday, 19,469 of the 407,000 legacy verified accounts I had identified early in April had Twitter Blue. So that's the first data point. Of almost 500,000 legacy accounts, they were all blown out. I lost my blue check. Everybody did. Only 20,000 left. Today, that number has only gone up by 28. That's, in other words, 28 more people bought blue checks in one day.
Mm-hmm.
There is some question about whether it's a good thing to have a blue check. You're right, Ann and Stacy. It could be for the edit button. It could be for the fewer ads.
It could be because your business needs you to put up longer videos or longer posts. I mean, I'm empathetic to that. However, in general, unless you have a good excuse, why?
I've heard some people complain that when you look at replies now to any tweet, the blue checks are prioritized.
Yeah.
Oh,
they are, and it can be a nightmare, like on things to try to figure out if it's accurate or if you're looking to see who's replying and people commenting. You can't.
That's my struggle now. It's just going through the notifications because I don't look at it as often. Maybe more so on the weekends, and it could be pretty craptastic in there, sort of sifting through.
So instead of talking about Elon, let me do a little meta thing. Politico had a piece. I'm sure you all saw it. You're journalists. Jack Schaefer writing in his Fourth Estate column. Elon Musk figured out the media's biggest weakness. The premise is Elon has always said, "I'm not buying advertising. I don't need to, because like." I guess Donald Trump, I figured out how to get coverage just from a tweet. Mm-hmm. And the complaint that Schaefer has is we all fall for it. We actually buy into it.
Well,
we don't have to be talking about it.
Yeah. That's been an argument of mine for a little while. It's like, why do we continue to give people press time?
Schaefer writes he'll do anything.
Story.
He said he calls what Musk is up to media stunt work. He says he'll do anything to keep it and Twitter and himself in the news. And every day, the news media rewards his showboating with an avalanche of running coverage and commentary. Sound familiar? But you've got to wonder, is Elon Musk the problem here, or is it the press, which understands how it's being manipulated by Musk, but just can't quit him? It's good for traffic, right?
Yeah, it's good for their business.
But I'm bringing this up as a journalism question for our journalists, Stacy and Jeff.
Yep.
Jeff, of course, teaches journalism. Stacy's a practicing journalist. What is the responsibility of the media? I mean, on the one hand, I understand an outlet, especially in this day and age. Look at what just happened to BuzzFeed News. Wants to drive traffic, and if a president drives traffic, his tweets drive traffic, or Elon's outrageous statements drive traffic, I understand the desire to put that on the TV or in the newspaper. But on the other hand, there are consequences to this as well, and we're allowing ourselves to be manipulated. Stacey?
Well, the issue with journalism is that we don't have the right economic model for what we're trying to do, like for the quote unquote good. So if you want to drive traffic to benefit your advertisers, you have to cover a lot of this stuff. If you want to cover what is right, your readers, they'll still read it, some of it. They'll still read about like restaurant openings and sports pages and things like that, but they may not necessarily read your, I don't know, coverage that's good for you. The green coverage. And by greens, I mean like broccoli.
Yeah.
Your broccoli coverage.
No vegetables.
And there are stories like Elon's tweets do become actual news when you look at things like the SpaceX rocket explosion,
right,
where he actually tweeted about not putting in the right safety protocols. So that's a way to talk. I'm like, oh, will this come back to haunt him in lawsuits? Maybe. And there is actual news. I mean, the man is trying for big government contracts and has big government contracts, but maybe not the Twitter. And I don't know. I mean, some of the Twitter stuff is news because it does affect a site that people go to and like, but it's probably not to the level that we talk about it. But it's also our home. Twitter used to be our home. So
there's a certain amount of lamentation, mourning for what happened to Twitter.
But yeah, you could dial back that kind of coverage a lot, and that would be more appropriate, I think.
But amongst us, just us kids, we're all pretty sad that what was once something pretty cool is gone.
Yeah. But I was talking to a reporter at Digiday today. It was really about BuzzFeed and BuzzFeed News, which we'll get to, I'm sure, later. But I think what we're seeing happen is with BuzzFeed, with Twitter, with Vice, and on and on and on, is the dying breath of the mass media business model. Stacey said we don't have a business model yet, right? The business model we still borrow is that from mass media, where you want maximum attention, and that's just not going to be competitive anymore because there's a complete abundance of content, abundance of speech. It's going to be hard to get any attention. And I think we have to invent new models and new institutions to find quality. And we're not there yet.
We had Paris Martineau on Twit on Sunday.
I love her.
I love her. She works at The Information. And The Information doesn't do link bait stories because it's paywalled. You have to pay $400 a year. And so they don't need to. They're not trying to drive traffic from links on Facebook.
Right. So it's about service and value and not about reselling your audience. I mean, the internet everything the internet gets accused of, mass media invented. Or you got to get attention. Well, that's what mass media did. You got to get engagement and sensationalism and clickbait. Mass media did that. Why did they do that? Because they wanted to sell audience. The internet sells you to advertisers. Well, that's what mass media did, right? And so I think that we can shift to a view of value in here and a smaller scale, more to the point. I mentioned on the show before, the average circulation of a daily newspaper in the U.S. before industrialization was 4,000. If you have a Substack newsletter at $10 a month, you got $200,000. You could make a living at that, right? It brings the scale down. So the expectation that you've got to be huge, I tell you, huge, and you got to find all this stuff. I think just is people are fed up with it.
Now, BuzzFeed is kind of the poster child here. BuzzFeed announced that it was going to dissolve its news division. By the way, I know it's behind a paywall, but at Puck News, Dylan Byers wrote, I thought, a really good,
it's very good
history of the whole thing. And it really doesn't blame Jonah Peretti. I mean, I think I was tempted to blame Jonah myself. But he says Jonah was a geek, right? He came from Huffington Post. He was a co-founder there. He kind of was doing what his heart wanted to do, not necessarily thinking it out. Ben Smith, on the other hand, who had left, there we go, Traffic, wrote a great book all about it, had left Politico to go to BuzzFeed and then saw the writing on the wall He's founded Semaphore since. He knew a lot about what was going on, and he saw the train coming at the end of the tunnel, which was essentially that BuzzFeed was living on Facebook clicks.
Well, it's two things, Leo. Yes, that's true. If you go back to about.com, which, full disclosure, I consulted for when the Times bought it, it was pretty wonderful. It would write things about all these topics. And then content farms came along and ruined it. Google had to diminish them all. BuzzFeed came along and did fun, neat quizzes and lists. Then everybody came along, all the content farms, and ruined it, because then the platform said, this is a rotten experience and we're going to degrade all of this. And so the problem then was that happened to BuzzFeed's own business model. BuzzFeed News never had a business model. And Jonah talked in his memo about how he regretted over-investing. That is to say, he invested in something that had no business model. Ben Smith and the newsroom did great work, but it was a philanthropic act by Jonah to say, I'm going to subsidize news with the listicles. The news itself never fit into the BuzzFeed business model. It needed advertising, but news and advertising don't mix. And I said for years, I like BuzzFeed News, but it's doomed. It's doomed. Either the venture capitalists or the private equity or the public market would say, this is not making money, get rid of it. And that's what happened.
Should I read traffic?
I just started it. It's not out until next week. I actually have a copy on order. I told Ben, I always say friends buy friends books. But as I read the reviews, I said, I want this now. So I went to Ben and I said, can I get a copy now? So I'll have nice. 2 copies soon. It just started as, of course, it's Ben. It's very well written. It's about, I think it's about that topic of traffic, of that whole motif of ethos of media. It's about both Jonah and my friend Nick Denton. So I'll be very eager to see what the contrasts and comparisons are there.
Nick Denton of
Gawker Media.
My favorite site. Gawker was a really good example of how if you follow that, fall down that rabbit hole of link bait, how bad it can get, right?
Well, Ben was one of the, Nick was one of the first ones to put the screen up in the newsroom with all the traffic stats.
Talk about a rabbit hole.
Would motivate them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He cynically knew exactly what he was doing with that.
Traffic's subtitle is Genius, Rivalry, and Delusion in the $1 billion race to go viral. I don't know if you guys watch Succession. It's my favorite TV show. And
that show.
No, don't, because I'm 2 episodes behind.
I won't say anything except because it's actually from last season. But that was one of the new media ventures that Kendall Logan wanted to get. It was called Vulture. Kind of familiar sounding, isn't it? And it was the same idea, and it failed for the same reason. And one of the things the writers of Succession are very good at doing is kind of plucking stories from today's headlines, because you really
and changing them just enough, so it's
just enough.
So you have to ask what that is and what it really means. So, Stacey, we are going to. I bet we're going to have a reference to the latest episode with no spoilers later, because they mention Sundar.
Okay.
Sundar.
Yes. It's hysterical. Isn't that hysterical?
Yeah.
Sundar responded. I think we got to at least deal with it.
We'll mention this. It won't spoil it in any way. In fact, it'll just give you a heads up to listen for this line. So Sundar Pichai, of course, getting excited about Google I/O, and he was on the analyst call. Here's a picture that they released, the press department released, of Sundar meeting with the team to prepare for the analyst call. And he talked about the AI and he didn't say anything that we didn't already know, about Google I/O. But notice there's something about this picture that's a little bit odd, and it's hanging up here in the background. There's a pair of white cargo shorts that are creased. And this was a direct reference because he's mentioned in the last episode of Succession.
So should we mention what? So Tom sits down. Sweet. I can't say that? I can't say this one line?
No.
It's funny. Just look for the mention.
Look for it.
Just because my ears perked up. As soon as he says Sundar Pichai, it's like, what? And it's a very funny attempt to bond that fails miserably, but it involves creased cargo shorts. And Sundar, who maybe he's a fan, or maybe his press department, is savvy enough to do it. This is the funny thing is this is an intentionally stock photo-y kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Sundar's smile.
Oh, yeah.
It's so fake and posed.
Everybody's posture.
Phillips talking to somebody like just a friendly conversation.
The whole point of it is clearly to
It's that.
the cargo shorts,
Pants.
which is I love it. That made me very happy. Actually,
Also,
Look forward to
Tom
it.
pronounced it Sundar, right?
yes.
Was that intentional?
That is-
do you think? Or was that?
Oh,
I don't know.
that is what all like white people say when they see.
So that is intentional because Tom, as you
Is
know,
the
Tom
way.
Wamscam is Mr. Middle America, stuck in with these Manhattan elites or so-called elites. Anyway, enough of that. But that was hysterical. I thought, God,
I look forward to it.
finger on the pulse. Speaking on we should probably talk about another big media turnover. ABC Disney, which acquired FiveThirtyEight. I did not know that. FiveThirtyEight was Nate Silver's, at the time, amazing thing. Nate had started kind of in a form of baseball fandom called sabermetrics, which is it's like there's a game going on. I don't know. I just see these stats here. He's like, it's spreadsheets. But he was brilliant. He's really brilliant. And if you watch the movie Moneyball, you see how it's changed baseball is this sabermetrics understanding of what stats matter. And he started applying this and his models to politics. When was that, Jeff? Was that 2008?
I think so, yes.
I think it was the first Obama election. Now, very famously, they got 2016 very wrong.
Very wrong.
And I think the brand...
And they led the New York Times down a bad path in saying, let's just predict the percentage chance of winning or losing as opposed to the actual percentages. And that's the last time the Times has done that.
The number 538, of course, comes from the number of members of Congress, right? Or no, it's it's the electoral college votes. And so it was this very nerdy kind of stats focused look at politics. Remember the Times they had a meter?
That's what I'm saying. The meter is what they got rid of after.
This was all.
Trump went.
Did the Times own Did they buy 538?
They had a deal with 538 for a few years where he was kind of exclusive there. The Times was doing that at the time with blogs. They did it with Freakonomics too. They did it with various.
That's
things.
right. Yeah.
And then ABC bought it for 538 for ESPN, and then it kind of split off from ESPN to do politics and stuff. And then Nate famously decided that he was an expert in epidemiology and COVID.
Yeah, that was
really
a
went off the road.
Yeah, and now he's gone. ABC is going to continue the brand. You'll see stuff. When 538 started in 2008, I loved it. I read it, and you probably did too. I read it religiously. It was like, oh yeah, because it was a great. If you want horse race coverage of politics, that's the ultimate horse race,
Which I hate.
I know. It's terrible. And I learned that after 2016, probably not to pay too much attention to it. But anyway, this is so you're not sad that Nate Silver has moved on, huh?
I'm not.
He's taking, the interesting thing is Disney's keeping the brand. He's taking the formulas. He keeps the maybe nobody wants it. He's keeping his math, all of the IP that he invented to do all of this.
Well, he got in trouble the last time because he favored too many. There were polls. I always quote the late James Carey of Columbia about polls that they preempt the public discourse they are meant to measure. They cut it off, and then
That's a very good way.
It was savvy.
That's a very
Really
good
important.
point. You start focusing on who's winning, and you stop thinking about what matters.
And you put people into binary buckets.
Right.
You lose all nuance, right?
That's a very good point. So thank you.
James Carey's brilliant. I write about it in the Gutenberg parenthesis, available for pre-order now. But what happened in the last election, or in the Trump victory, was that the polls were being manipulated by the right wing, cleverly, smartly, right? So that the polls that Nate put into his average were kind of messed up. Plus, people in the public like to screw with the pollsters.
They gamed it.
They have no credibility, and nobody except me has a landline phone anymore.
Right. Oh, that's nice. Showing us your phone. Do you have a fax machine attached to that?
I used to. So
Ann is
polls
mocking
are
you, you know?
ridiculous.
Gosh.
We need instead of moral panic, how about landline phone? How about that?
Still works. You want to hear what a dial tone sounds like? Hey, kid.
My stepmother, she still has a landline and a fax machine.
That's a dial tone.
In the house.
Kids, what do you know what a dial means? All right.
I talked to a reporter today from San Francisco about the Skylab story because it's coming up on an anniversary, I guess. And I said something about the composing room at the newspaper, the Chronicle and the Examiner. He said, "What's
that?
The composing room?"
What's that?
He had no idea.
That's where you go.
Either.
If you're feeling lightheaded,
AC,
they have a little lounge there, and you can fall on that and compose yourself. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not what it is.
No, it's not.
What?
Okay, I was like, sure. I have those days all the time.
Honey, I'm off to the composing room.
I'm like, prepare my fainting couch. I compose myself.
No, it's where they
You don't
compose
know what a
the lead,
composing room
the lead
was?
type, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Jeff,
they compose the-
I have literally never worked at a publication that had in-house printing.
No, I'm sure not.
Only,
Right.
Neither have I.
anything,
Neither is
right?
Aunt. You're the only one.
She also
you
just
work in a
said,
magazine.
"Hey, dude, I'm not that old." That's what.
Yeah, that's what she's saying. I know.
well, yeah, I'm like when I went to journalism school, I learned on like actual computer programs. So
Wow.
yeah, I'm
Jane Jetson of the Journal.
exactly. Now, was that computer program Quark? Yes, it was.
Oh, wow. Old timer there. Hey, let's take a little break. There's more to talk about. I am so happy to be back. You guys, I missed you.
We are happy to have
Missed
you.
you.
Your guys did a great job.
So tell me, was it Jason Howell last week?
The last 2 weeks and Micah before that.
And Micah the first week. Okay. Thank you,
They did a great
Jason.
job.
Thank you, Micah. You know, it actually is great for me. It means that I can go on vacation and they will hold down the fort. So I really I'm very grateful to them. Thank you. Our show today but I did miss you guys, and I'm glad to be back. I mean, if I could be in Rome right now, standing up and drinking a espresso, I might be. But since I'm not, this is my second.
I mean, you could be there and miss us at the same time.
I did.
Totally.
I did.
So
I thought
we'll see. Yeah.
it was Thursday afternoon. I thought, I wonder what the little people are doing. Our show today brought to you by, no, I didn't. ZipRecruiter. Actually, this is something that we always worry about. Lisa, of course, runs the company, and she knows, we know, anybody who has a company knows, the company is the people. That's all that matters, is the people. And if somebody leaves, I don't want to say it's disaster, but it's all hands on deck time. It means you've got to cover their duties, and it means while you're doing that, you got to go out and find somebody to replace them, and you darn well better find somebody that's at least as good, if not better. Whether you're starting a new business, you're growing an existing business, if you want to be successful, you got to get the right people, right? The most talented people, the people who are going to fit your culture, the people that'll fit in. That's where ZipRecruiter comes in. And right now you can try it for free. ZipRecruiter.com/twig. Think about what new business you would start. I don't know. I'm thinking, food truck might be kind of fun. Get my son and we could make some Salt Hank sandwiches, drive around the country, or maybe you'd want to give back, start a charity. Just don't start a podcast network. Just a little word to the wise. Just maybe think of something else. However, no matter what you're doing, whatever your next business is, whatever your current business is, you got to let ZipRecruiter help you hire. That's what we do. And it is such a relief. Somebody says, "Hey, here's my notice. I'm moving." Lisa's, oh, okay. And we post it on ZipRecruiter, usually at breakfast, right? First thing in the morning. That's when we get the news. But what's so awesome about ZipRecruiter is within a very quick period of time, we're going to get some really good qualified candidates. Now, how does it work? Well, first of all, you're posting to 100+ job boards. You're posting all over the place. So you're casting the widest net. And by the way, sometimes people say, well, I don't know if I want that. What am I going to do with all those phone calls and emails and resumes? No, don't worry. It all goes into the ZipRecruiter interface. They reformat the resumes to make them uniform, so it's easy to scan them. You have qualifying questions, true, false, yes, no, even essay questions that can eliminate people who just don't fit. You also, of course, have this amazing ZipRecruiter matching technology. So cool. This really is the secret sauce. They will look through their 1 million+ resumes, current resumes on file, and find people whose qualifications fit what you're looking for. Then suggest them to you. You can look at them and say, I think we should invite these 3 people. Those people now, because you've invited them personally, they're already thrilled. They're going to follow through. They're going to give you a great interview. They're more likely to apply because you asked them. ZipRecruiter also has some nice little features because there's people going through ZipRecruiter postings all the time. They let you add labels. Nowadays, some of the labels that are really good are, for instance, remote. You can remote work. A lot of people are looking for that. Training provided, be a good one. They have these little stickers, and people who are looking for jobs might be looking for that, right? I'm entry level. Oh, they're going to train me. That's good. Urgent. We put that in all of them. It's always urgent. Let your job stand out among all the other listings. Let ZipRecruiter fill all your roles with the right candidates. We're not alone, by the way. 4 out of 5 employers who post to ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day, on day 1. I would say for us, it's almost always within an hour or 2. It's just like Lisa, she does it at breakfast. Before lunch, she's going, oh, I got one. Oh, I got another one. And for her, it's such a relief to know, oh, I'm going to be able to fill this position. See for yourself. Go to our special web address, ZipRecruiter, and try it for free, ZipRecruiter.com/twig. Again, ZipRecruiter.com/TWIG. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. We are very grateful for ZipRecruiter. Thank you. Thank you for sponsoring the show, too. We appreciate that. ZipRecruiter.com/twig. I saw something I thought, oh, this will be a good one. What do you want, Jeff? What do you like? What are you thinking? I know you're used to a democracy. I don't want to pull the rug out from under you too fast here. How about the dead people subscribing to Twitter Blue? Elon was so, I think, shocked that nobody had the check mark that he gave it. Well, he says, I paid, which he obviously didn't. I mean, I guess it's okay to lie now and just like blatantly. Oh, yeah, I paid $8 for LeBron.
Stephen King has an actionable libel case against Elon.
Well, that's an interesting one because when you go to Twitter, it says this person paid for Twitter Blue and gave their phone number. And Stephen King said, well, I absolutely did not. So that's an implied endorsement. FTC, hello.
Right. It's $8 schmuck. No, I'm not that idiotic. I didn't do that. No.
We can be pretty sure, however, that Anthony Bourdain did not pay for his, nor did Kobe Bryant.
Shogi, he also put on.
Nor Chadwick Boseman, your friend, Ant. These people passed. But they all got blue checks. Thank you, Elon.
Well, that may be just good PR because you really don't want someone impersonating someone who's dead.
Well, that's a good point, actually. That's the right thing to do, I guess, huh? Yeah.
But the blue check is meaningless now.
Chrissy Teigen, who is actually a very talented tweeter, she can stir out the pot like nobody, says...
She's still tweeting?
Yeah. Wait, I'm trying. I'm crying. They're giving them for punishment now? When John Favreau bemoaned getting a blue check, Teigen advised him that changing his account handle would make it disappear. This, by the way, from the Washington Post. Michael Jackson, Mac Miller, John McCain, Kirstie Alley, Barbara Walters, all got blue checks. But I think you raised a good point. I think it's reasonable for them to say, hey, these people aren't going to pay for it.
Morning.
Those people, it's appropriate, really. It's the people who are alive. Oh, Jamal Khashoggi, that's kind of not so.
That's a
little queasy making. But the people who are alive who were, forced to have it with the implied endorsement I think that's problematic. I really do. Okay, enough. I don't want.
But you said you were going to do more Twitter. You did it. I didn't make you. I had my mute on accidentally, so I didn't suggest it. You just did it.
I like it. Okay, I like this one. This is kind of interesting, and I think we might get a little conversation going. Do you remember? I think we interviewed her, and I did not like it. A woman named, was it Twenge? How do you pronounce that?
Oh, no.
I didn't like her. Jean Twenge.
Good. I don't either.
She wrote a book that said, this was back in 2017. She's like psychologist.
Wrote
iGen. And we interviewed her. And she basically said this whole generation's lost because of social media and screens. And this has been a continued conversation. I think Dana Boyd probably debunked it, I would guess. Yes. When Twenge looked at, she studies generational trends at San Diego State. When she looked at mental health metrics for teenagers, and this is back in 2012, according to NPR, what she saw shocked her. In all my analyses of generational data, some reaching back to the 1930s, I'd never seen anything like it. She warned of a mental health crisis on the horizon. Well, fast forward 10 years, and we're seeing now people say that the young people today, especially young women today, are more depressed, more detached, lonelier, more anxious than ever before. You've got a teenager, Stacey. What are your thoughts?
I think it's silly to ascribe all of this to social media. I will say that my teen's social life is so different from mine. Part of that is COVID. So for over a year, they were isolated. But even before that, this generation of kids has historically been so overscheduled that they never hang out in person. And even now they don't really hang out in person. It's probably once a month, maybe twice a month that my child actually meets in real life outside of school with friends. And I think that probably has a lot. I mean, I'm not saying social media is part of that. At least they're having connections with people, I guess. And there are implications of pile on bullying and things like that. But I also think a lot of it's if you try to make plans with somebody, they're in club sports, so they're never available, or they're part of some team or theater or some part of school, then they're at least hanging out possibly in person with other people. But it is high drama to try to get your kids together with other kids.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody denies that it's hard right now to be a teenager. But I think to say it's social media or screen time is oversimplistic. There are other things, as you say, overscheduling. But you could trace that back to stranger danger too. This bogus promotional thing that oh God, don't let your kids out of the house. They're going to get assaulted. Really colored.
We were all latchkey kids.
Yeah.
I feel at the same time I was stranger dangered, I was also no one was watching me.
Right. but you didn't, when I was a kid, you went out to the street and you played.
And we did that when I was we just went to the mall and played.
But I think even that was constrained over time.
Exactly. No, that would seem to be evil too.
Yeah, you just said, no, don't go out. We don't know. Some stranger's going to abduct you. And that was, I'm not saying it's all of it. I'm not saying social media is not part of it. But there's so many possible root causes. Society's changed a lot. And then the other thing, and Jeff and I will always, I know, bring this up, which is when we were kids, it was rock and roll and Rolling Stone magazine. I mean, there's always something when the old generation.
I liked Rolling Stone.
No, I know, but I'm just saying when the younger generation is disconnected from the older generation, that we called it the generation gap.
Well, that's Twenge's new book now.
It's called Generations. Yeah,
she's doing all that generational stuff. So before my father died, Joe Scarborough was praising the Utah bill or law now, taking kids off of social media entirely and getting everybody's. And so I went on Twitter and I said, oh no, now Joe and Meek are praising this. And Joe came on and said, damn it, Jarvis, there's proven science and you're, just shilling for the technology companies. Arr. So I said, I'm going to come back and give you some data. So I have a long thread in there, line 60, which I did for Joe, but I'll do for here now, which has a lot of data and many studies that directly respond to both Twenge and her partner in crime, Jonathan Haidt from The Atlantic.
Do you think she cherry picked a little bit?
Oh yeah, and everybody does. I can too. I'm doing it right here.
Yeah.
But Amy Orban, who's the best, I think, at arguing back, did some important research. Down a few, you'll find it. Oh, that's the wrong one. I don't know where you went. If you go to my link, you'll see it.
Should I go to his reply to you?
No, just go back to line 60 and click there.
That's what I did.
No, now go back. Okay, now scroll down now.
Oh, don't show this thread. See, I don't understand how this Twitter thing works.
This is the thread.
So the thread, this is the thread.
You're probably on an Apple, so you're scrolling the wrong way, get confused every time you scroll.
No,
because
I went, this is the link. It's this tweet.
Scroll down.
But this tweet refers to this tweet, which has a show this thread.
Oh, this is the thread.
But why doesn't it say show this thread on this tweet?
Well, because that's Twitter. Don't blame me. All right. Keep going. One more. Keep going. There.
Amy Orban, a leading researcher in the field, studied large social data sets with 355,000 subjects, found, quote, the association of well-being with regularly eating potatoes was nearly as negative as the association with technology use.
And by the way, wearing glasses is worse than technology use because don't we know all of us who were called four eyes in school and traumatized as
this is in nature.com, which is a fairly reliable.
Orban's a leading person. She also found in the next one that social media use is not in itself a strong predictor of life satisfaction.
So when Twenge, so let's go back to the NPR thing because Twenge's got a lot of data. For instance, 22% of 10th grade girls spend 7 or more hours a day on social media, which means they're doing little else than sleeping, going to school, and engaging with social media. Screen time is cut into kids' sleep. The percentage of 10th and 12th graders who slept 7 or fewer hours each night rose from a third to nearly one half. But again, is that social media or the fact they got 0 period so that they can take their crew classes so they can get into college, which they can ill afford?
Right. And if they're depressed and under stress and anxiety, talk about the social stress of the lunchroom. Talk about the fact that the control over young women's bodies is being taken away from them. Talk about the fear that they're going to be shot at school. Talk about the environment falling down in their future generation. There's plenty of cause for them to be anxious.
Hundreds of thousands more college students depressed. Yeah.
I think actually, there are obviously all levels of maturity, but the kids that I see through my child's school and my child, they're thoughtful individuals. And
yes,
many of them are anxious, but I can't say to them, well, that's crazy. This is a generation that is going to be worse off than their parents, most likely.
For crying out loud. They know the climate change is going to clobber them and their kids. Well, I'd be anxious too. I'm glad I'm going to be dead before 2050 because it's not going to be good.
Leo, Lisa, and Ann, I'd like to ask a generational question here. I'm curious about this. When I grew up, no one I knew would, if they did, would say out loud that they went to a shrink. We didn't talk about mental health.
Correct.
We didn't talk about needing therapy. We didn't have any discussion of that.
Especially
part of these stats, I think.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
That people are more willing
and mafiosos
to talk about it.
Yeah. Because Tony Soprano, it was a hard thing for him to admit.
Yeah. He could have lost his gig from that. Yeah.
No, I think you're right. But now it's okay, right?
Yeah, now our kids.
I go to 2 shrinks. I'm thinking about a third. It doesn't help.
I still agree with you, Mr. Laporte, that it's not the only thing. It is a combination of things.
Yeah.
And for me, I think it's a combination of we're the parents. And I know this country in particular is full of really, really craptastic parents. So that puts the children at a disadvantage right out the gate. And then you throw in these different platforms, be it Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, what have you, that has a lot of things that are sensationalized and are false. I can get why children or teenagers or what have you can go through depression because they feel like they're missing out or should be living up to that standard that they see on this screen. But again, that stuff could, you could fight that a little bit with some decent parenting or mentors. So a lot of times just speaking from my own experience, I see stuff happen in the communities back in Carolina. And the very first thing that pops out of my mouth was, well, where's mom and dad? Because some of the stuff could be taught at home. And I don't think the parents are getting enough credit for some of the things that our kids are going through these days.
Yes.
So let me ask you this, Jeff, in your tweet thread and Stacy in your experience and Ann in your experience, are we going to stipulate that, kids are more troubled now than before?
Y'all going to go ahead? Because I have thoughts.
Go, Ann. Go.
Again, I think kids today are more troubled than before because of...
Well, I'm not asking because. No, I'm not saying because. That's the next part of the question. First part is, though, do we agree that there is a problem?
Yes, I agree.
I think the kids are struggling, but I think the kids are actually like my kid and their friend group is so much better and more ambitious and more considerate and empathetic than my friends and I ever were.
I mean, I guess what I'm asking is, what's the dispute? Is the dispute that kids are in trouble, or is the dispute what caused it? Because I think it's clear that it's foolish to say, oh, this is what did it. They used to say it was violent video games and violent movies. I mean, there are many, many, many possible causes, maybe all of them involved. But
that's why I asked my question. If people are more willing to talk about mental health today, does that mean mental health is worse?
Right, exactly.
That's
legit.
Healthier at dealing with it. And in any
autism
case,
is diagnosed.
Twenge and company.
Autism today is diagnosed at a much higher rate. Is that because autism suddenly has appeared?
No, it's because of Tylenol.
Or is it because of an environmental factor? Or is it much more likely not Tylenol? Although who knows? But
there was just a study that blamed autism on Tylenol.
I know. And you don't hug your kids enough and blah, blah, blah. But really, probably the case is that we just didn't have the term and we didn't diagnose it that way.
I do think that the pressure on kids today, I mean, how many schools did you and I apply to? And you got into Yale versus how
7
many schools kids apply to?
I got into all of them but one, Harvard. I hate those sons of bitches.
The social pressure, the political pressure. I think that there is worse pressure on kids.
Yeah.
I think there is
and the
more
economic unwinding.
Yes.
I don't blame them.
I
look at my kids, 28 and 30.
Yeah.
The economic, they couldn't buy a house. They can't, they don't have a job they're going to have for life. It's completely changed.
Yeah.
And the internet actually shares a lot of that, like, you want to feel anxious, like scroll through your kid's Twitter or not Twitter, TikTok feed because
they're angsty.
They're like, I have $500,000 in student debt. I didn't get into any of my colleges that I wanted to. I can't buy a house. I'm not going to have any children, even though I want them, because how could I? And I mean, like, I just got a hospital bill for $80,000.
Oh, there's another one. Yeah.
Constant.
Medical bankruptcy. There's another one. I would be terrified if I were 18. I completely understand that. There's a lot of stuff.
The kids can be depressed about that stuff because of the situations that we put them in as parents, in my opinion. I know I've never shied away, about finances and things like that in this household, because I don't want my children to think that things just come for free or you just get handouts and things like that. Everything has a consequence. Everything has a price. We have free lunches in school, but I try to explain to them that free lunch is costing somebody else somewhere else. And I need them to understand that. And so, every now and then they can be quite anxious about, man, I don't want to have all of this debt for college, because college is going to cost, $250,000 at some point, and I don't want that hanging over my head. So I should probably think about getting myself in a better position. And that can be quite anxious, but unfortunately that is life right now.
And I've also respected greatly how you talk about mental health. And use this platform to do so. Yeah, I don't shy away from it, because again, a few minutes ago, as you were saying, from a generational standpoint, you didn't talk about it. And then I can tell you for a fact, Black folks did not talk about depression. Yep. And when depression or anxiety or anything like that came up, you were called, quote, crazy, or you were told, go, especially in the South, go and pray it away or something like that. And that's not cool. People can have chemical imbalances that can lead to mental health concerns. So, you've always done a great job with your boys. You've parented them very well, but I think I'm trying. You've fallen a little bit of a trap that a lot of parents whose kids have done well fall into. And I don't know if it's just your parenting. I think you kind of lucked out. I think there are plenty of very good parents whose kids are very troubled, very concerned. I include myself in this. I'm sure, Jeff, you probably include yourself. Yeah. It's not that we were bad parents. You lucked out. You did well. But I don't think that still not done, though. Good parenting isn't the only problem by any means. No, it's not. It's not. But I do believe that, well, a couple things. I do believe that parenting helps, and this is going to sound very selfish, but I also believe having daddy in the picture helps. I hate that there's so many single mothers out there, and just look at statistics from the Black side of things. Black dudes, we had to do better. We got to stay in the picture. Yes, and this is a big conversation, I know, in the Black community, but you could also say, and what happened to religion, look at the divorce rate. I mean, we're in a different world, and there are many, many things. I love Taylor Lawrence's response. You quote this in your tweet thread. Taylor says, people are like, why are kids so depressed? It must be their phones, but never mention the fact that we're living in late-stage capitalist hellscape during an ongoing deadly pandemic with no social safety net as climate change cooks the world. Yeah, there are a few things to worry about. Just a few. Right below that, the Russ Douthat column in the New York Times, blames secularization, blames cancel culture. It's a pure political agenda. Try to find the things that are screwing up kids. Yeah, and on the left, I'm going to blame billionaires. It's billionaires' fault. That's whose it is. Problems. Watch Succession. So, I mean, look. Their fair share. There's a lot of reasons. So that's why I asked the question, do we agree that there's a mental health crisis among young people? I agree wholeheartedly. And then the next question is, well, what caused it? I don't know. Stacey, do you agree with the premise?
I do agree that there's a mental health crisis among young people. I would even say that mental crisis extends up to even millennials. Yeah. Like, it's not just teenagers. No, my kids are millennials. I'll vouch for that. The lack of the economic precariousness. I mean, we've known that was stressful for a long time, looking at, I'll say Black communities or other communities that have historically been unable to access economic privilege, right? Now everyone's kind of getting into that place. And we're all going to be there. And it's scary. Yeah.
Well, anyway.
So Leo, when I saw
take that, Gene Twenge.
Thank you, Leo. Because when I saw the rundown, I thought, "Oh God, get my blood pressure."
No, that's why I put in the rundown. I am looking for things
that could surprise me
to get your blood pressure. No. This was a great conversation. I think this was an important conversation. Yeah. And you're right. It's easy I understand why Joe Scarborough said, hey, you technology guys, you're defending technology. I understand why they say that. But honestly, it's not just to defend technology. It's to point out there are a lot of other things. Yeah, there's a lot of nuance to it.
And all of this is to say there is more that the platform should be doing for young people, for content, for lots of things. But you know me, I'm no fan of any of these social media platforms, by the way, except for Mastodon. But the Utah law is ridiculous. Today, we don't have it in the rundown because I didn't bother because I saw this. I thought it was going to be an overdose. But today, a bipartisan group just this afternoon announced new legislation to legally forbid children under 13 from being anywhere on social media, and to forbid the use, this is what's ridiculous, of any algorithm, because algorithms are bad, on anybody up to 18. And our friend Near Weisblatt put up a really good piece on TechMeme, which I don't think I put in the rundown, where she said everything that Tristan Harris did against social media is all this evil. Just like fear for fear is now transferring that to AI. So from social media to algorithms to AI, it's a continuum of Ant, get ready. I'm going to say it. Moral panic about this.
Yeah.
Not productive in dealing with the underlying problems.
Well, that's because if we dealt with the underlying problems, we'd have to
fix the world,
our entire society. Yeah. Well, no, I was going to say, I mean, I don't know how we do this, because we've put corporate well-being above societal well-being. We've put individual well-being above societal well-being. And we're going to just ride that train to the very end. And we're kind of getting close, I feel. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, by the way,
runs make an interesting opportunity to change things. But
I mean, honestly, I think you could add politicians to the cause as well. I mean, if I were young and I were looking at the disarray of our national polity, I would not have high hopes. And then what's it look like? The 2024 election is going to be between two people in their 80s. Oh, great. That's wonderful. That'll solve it. Those old folks knew. So the bill you were talking about unveiled today, the Protecting Kids on Social Media Act, is bipartisan, created by Hawaii Senator Brian Schatz, a Democrat. Tom Cotton, a wonderful Republican. Chris Murphy of Connecticut. Katie Britt. This is left and right. This is these,
found their cause they can agree on. It's all the internet.
Common cause. It's all the internet.
By the way, speaking of parent, isn't it up to the parent to decide? I go back to Dana Boyd. She grew up in some small Pennsylvania town feeling like a freak and weirdo. And it was because of the internet and connected that she could find out that she wasn't alone. She wasn't a freak. She was brilliant. And it's up to parents to decide how their children should be doing this. But it's like decreeing that no kid can be outside alone in your backyard anymore.
Meta's quarterly results came out at market close, which was a little while ago. Q1 revenue up 3%. Revenue up 3%. How? Income, revenue up, income down. Get ready for this. Stand back. 24%. Ooh, that's a big drop in income.
Write-downs for firings, or?
I'll have to look at the details. Year over year, the Reality Labs unit, the Metaverse unit, Q1 revenue down 51%. Year over year.
Are they going to change the name of the company again?
Operating loss, get ready, 35% year over year. Last year, remember, they lost $13.7 billion, and they're on track to lose even more this year.
But they're destroying the world, Leo. They're all powerful. There's nothing that can stop them. Stopping themselves.
Not good.
I read a German essay because I'm working on my book, the next one, and it was going on about toxic genius and the myth of genius in Silicon Valley and how that is toxic. And it went through Mark Zuckerberg, and I had this great line in there that said that, he's neither a genius nor a villain. He was just a ill-prepared, rather incompetent guy who got lucky. And I think that that's a lot of this too. Is we put these guys up on these pedestals as if they're amazing. And some of them are very smart. But Elon Musk shows that not just the emperor has no clothes, the closet's empty. And
that's the media's fault.
Exactly, Stacey, agreed. We pump them up, and so we can knock them down. That's our sport. It's like bowling, genius bowling.
Well, it's because people like people. And if you're going to tell a narrative, you need a person. And these companies were big. So then we put so maybe we chose bad people to exemplify, or we focus too much on the CEO as a person,
right?
Instead of like in TikTok, maybe we should have been focusing on some of the awesome users. And I see that like people are doing things like that, but I don't know.
Wozniak should have had more focus.
Or, just people like the school system, like the guy who bought Macintoshes for schools initially, and why. We should be talking more we should not just be sitting around calling the CEOs of these companies. We should try to build our narratives not around some guy genius. But Lord, that's almost impossible.
And then there's Tucker Carlson, but we'll save that for another day.
Oh, yeah. Let's not talk about him.
I only have one question. It's a journalism question about the Wall Street Journal's story today. So, it's completely kind of a meta story about this, but I'll save that because I want to do an ad. Again, thrilled to be back. Thank you, Aunt Pruitt.
Yeah.
It's been great. Great. I missed you. You did a great bunch of hands-on photographies. You've been doing great stuff in the club. Thank you for that. You've got a bunch more club events coming up. If you're not yet a member of Club Twit, man, this guy is rocking it. Go to twit.tv/clubtwit for ad-free versions of all of our shows. The fabulous special shows that we put out only for Club Twit members. Of course, our Discord, which is a great hang. I think that's my social media. No kid ever went crazy in our Discord. I can tell you that right now. Nothing but happy-go-lucky folks in there. And it's Aunt Pruitt approved. Now that's legit. That's the greatest stamp ever. I love that, Aunt.
Shout out to Joe Esposito.
Joe's great.
He fixed my traps.
Oh, he did? There you go. That's a little greeting. You can put that up. That's a little greetings from the nerds in the Club Twit Discord. $7 a month, buck less than a blue check, and you get so much more for it. Go to twit.tv/clubtwit. There's now family plans. There's corporate memberships. There's an annual membership. I think it's the best thing ever, and we thank our members. We love you. Twit.tv/clubtwit. You're rocking it for us. Our show today brought to you by HPE GreenLake, orchestrated by the experts at CDW. The helpful people at CDW understand that your organization needs simple management over its big data, with some needing to keep their workloads on-prem, for organizational or compliance requirements. It can feel challenging to organize and optimize your data. That's where CDW can help your organization by consolidating and managing all your data in one flexible, unified experience with the HPE GreenLake edge-to-cloud platform. The experience you're going to get with HPE GreenLake is unique because no matter where your data or applications live, you can free up energy, free up resources, automated processes, streamlined management. I mean, who doesn't want more streamlined, right? Not only that, HPE GreenLake creates a seamless cloud experience among multiple data environments. So it kind of solves this problem thanks to the as-a-service model that meets your remote workforce at the edge. And with unrivaled scalability, you'll see instant increase in capacity, allowing for greater flexibility and accelerated business growth so your team can tackle bigger priorities. I'm sure there's other things on your plate like, innovation. Sure. When you need to get more out of your technology, HPE makes data transformation possible. CDW makes it powerful. Learn more at cdw.com/HPE. We thank them so much for their support of This Week in Google. cdw.com/HPE. What else is going on? Oh, I guess we can mention this. So not talking about Tucker Carlson getting laid off at blah, blah, blah. But there was always this question, well, what happened? Nobody knows. And the Wall Street Journal, who should know because they're owned by the same family, says, oh, it was those memos. So those memos, that's what did it. Now, I knew when I saw this, I thought, I got to ask you media watchers, in particular you, Jeff, at first I thought, well, that's credible. It's a Wall Street Journal. They know. And, they say unnamed sources. Probably Lachlan called them and said, could you print this? But now having watched Succession, I'm wondering if there's some deep, dark thing that they're kind of, this is, oh, no, pay no attention. It's just this. It's the memos. And I think there's some people made a fairly credible case that, hey, they've known about this for months. Why would that suddenly do this, right?
Abby Grossberg was interviewed on Nicole Wallace last night. And it was a fascinating interview talking about this kind of bad behavior. The behavior had been there forever. My theory is a little bit different. I think that Tucker and his toasted testicles got too big for his britches.
Yeah.
And was...
that's the Dylan Byers take on it.
Yeah, that he couldn't be controlled.
Yeah.
And
he was working out of his house in Maine. He wasn't even...
By the way, I wonder who owns that studio and who gets to keep the stuff.
Yeah.
He was trouble. They couldn't fire him before the Dominion settlement because that would have hurt their case. Though it's
so that's the timing.
Timing is that, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that they were looking for an excuse. Abby Grossberg gave them a great excuse. He used the C word to bosses. He did horrible things.
I saw somebody else say,
all that he was that.
It's an Australian company. they don't mind that word. They use it all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it really comes to a much broader question, which is the Wall Street Journal, I think for a long time I've thought that Apple has used them, for instance, as kind of a house organ. How much, I guess you could ask this now about the New York Times too, though. How much of a journalistic entity is it? How trustworthy is it? I'm not talking about the opinion page. I'm talking about the reporting.
The reporting is still trustworthy.
Still good?
I think you do find a certain type of person will turn to the Wall Street Journal for leaks. For example, a FCC commissioner, a Republican FCC commissioner.
That's where they're going to go.
Used the Wall Street Journal extensively for leaks. And the reporter knew that, but also the fact that they could get these sorts of scoops was important.
Access journalism, which is problematic.
It is access journalism.
Yeah.
But it's also, the New York Times does that too. It's just different people leak to the New York Times.
Stacey, you got a chicken egg there. I agree with you, but I'll see your bid and up you.
Okay.
Where I think that the reporter, without ever being told, also sees that an FCC car leak happens to fit, that's CARR, not a gas leak.
Yes, I got you.
Car leak.
It wasn't car, but it was.
I think so. Fits in with the agenda of Murdoch and the company.
It goes in both directions. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
You're going to leak to somewhere where that leak will be welcome.
Right, it's chicken egg.
Yeah. So I will say, I once, y'all know my bias, which is towards consumers. And if you've ever read my broadband coverage, when I was covering that beat, I was like, I talked to the telecoms and I knew how their stuff worked and I respected the technical limitations, but I was also pretty skeptical of a lot of their arguments, right? Rightly so.
As it turns out.
Well, no, again, I understood the tech behind it.
Yeah.
But when I went to Fortune after being at GigaOM was always happy when I'd be like, oh, look, it's another effort by our duopoly to squash competition in broadband. That could be my headline and no one would blink an eye. And it was true. It wasn't crazy. But when I write the same headline, I think I wrote something about Comcast goes with evil plan for, data
Hey,
caps.
Stacy, go get him, Stacy.
So I put that
Slay
in
the dragon.
Fortune, and it did it was there for maybe an hour before I got an email that was like, hey, maybe we don't want to call Comcast evil on our front page. And I was like, I'm not calling, I'm just saying it's their evil plan. Maybe
They may not say, but they're planning.
Maybe.
I was like, maybe we could just go Comcast introduces data caps. I was like, yeah, but data caps are real bad. They're like, yeah, maybe we just put that in the story. And I was like,
Okay.
so it's subtle,
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
probably there.
Yep.
But I don't think it's as I don't think that's how they got the scoop, or or actually that is kind of how this got the scoop.
But there does come to be an agenda for a publication that people fit into.
Yeah.
And I love The Guardian dearly. I've worked with The Guardian. I think The Guardian is brilliant, but The Guardian's tech coverage has been pure, get ready, Ant, pure moral panic.
Oh, I wasn't ready.
Oh, you're
There it
maybe
is.
slow on the
Yeah.
uptake then.
Oh, it's a new one.
Whoa.
Oh, that one's so fancy.
Love that one.
The Atlantic and the Wall Street Journal have all been of a single voice, and others haven't been. And so, does it come from the top? Rarely. When I worked for the TV Guide, I never once did Rupert Murdoch come, or did anybody come and say to me, "You can't do this." Now, when I worked at Time Inc., to your point, Stacy, oh yes, when I wrote a favorable review of a PBS series about Alger Hiss, I had to quit, and my editor almost quit until they took away their edits.
Wow.
Yeah, because Whittaker Chambers was a Time editor, and Henry Grunwald found Whittaker Chambers to be his mentor. And when I said that the thing was credible about Whittaker Chambers, he went slashing through my piece, and I said, "That's not going to my name. No, and we had to fight. And God bless my editor, Pat Ryan, may she rest in peace, fought for me. So I saw direct interference from Time Inc. more than I did at News Corp.
Well, here we go. The New York Times just published an article very much like the Journal article with pretty much the same suppositions. Again, unnamed sources. And here's another one, the Rolling Stone. Now, who leaks to the Rolling Stone these days? They say...
How old you are, the Rolling Stone.
Is it Rolling Stone? Just Rolling Stone, not the Rolling
Kids
Stone?
today. It's like the Facebook. Yeah, lost the thought at some point. Yeah. You're showing
I
your
think
age.
it's the Rolling
Your age,
Stone. I'm
sir.
sorry.
Showing.
Oh, it's Rolling Stone magazine. Isn't it? Is that what
Rolling
we're
Stone
talking about?
Yeah. But I'm wondering, because it used to be,
Yeah,
a
confused
rock and roll
Stacey.
magazine. I think it's changed its... it seems like it does a lot of
It's
political
still-
coverage, right? And stuff.
They used to do a lot of investigative journalism even when
Yeah.
I was in high school.
They were the one that they had the Petraeus scoop and stuff. So yeah, you're right. They've got, anyway, 8 people, this just came out too. 8 people familiar with the situation, 8, tell Rolling Stone that Fox News and its communications department has assembled a damaging dossier about Tucker Carlson that they will release should he attack the network. So, wow, this is a story. I love this story. It has nothing to do with tech.
That totally tracks.
Yeah,
I mean,
it has nothing to do with tech, but it's very much out of
I-
succession.
He may run for president.
What?
you should not let people, if you have the ability to gather a damaging dossier on someone,
Do it.
you should not put them in a position of power.
I have
Like, if
damaging
you try to
dossiers
create-
on all you guys, so don't.
Mine is like, my dog is upset because I forgot to walk her the other day.
That's you make a good
I mean,
point.
that's-
You make a good point. If your number one anchor has a dossier damaging enough,
Really good point, Stacey.
that's an excellent
Really
point.
good point.
When I was,
just like Don Lemon, everybody, I'm like,
well, you know what? Just add 24-hour news channels to the pile of things wrong with this world. You know what's right
I
with
think
this
it's the
world?
men in charge of these places.
Men.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm not hanging out with like Soledad O'Brien or other people.
She's cool. She's very cool.
But like, I'm just trying to.
She
think
would
of,
never
like,
do
most
that.
of the professional
She's been very
women I
scathing
know.
about all this stuff, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, she's a strong voice for ethics and journalism.
Yeah.
Our damaging dossiers, I feel like most women, we would never like. That is my slogan when I'm around my editors who are like, oh yeah, I totally got trashed, and then I was late for my interview and I missed my plane and I didn't get.
Wait till women are in power, and then you tell me that. I think some of this is because there's a predominance of men acting badly because there's a predominance of men in power. It's really a power dynamic, and I think it's human.
Yeah.
And maybe if it were a predominance of women in power, we'd see more of those stories. I'm not.
Give me power, and I will.
I think we should try it. Lisa always says that. She says, "Put women in charge. We wouldn't have all these wars, would you?" And she's got a point. We just haven't tried it yet. When I was back out there in the real world, aka Europe, I saw a lot of small cars, especially in Rome. Great story in the Journal this week about this car, a really tiny car that is number one in Brazil.
Wow. Wow.
It's the size of
Looks
a golf
like a smart car.
Yeah, it's an EV, doesn't have a trunk. They talked to one of the owners who said he's driven 6,000 miles in it, and it can squeeze in 3 people, quote, but they can't be very fat. And quote,
thanks for putting that in quotes.
He also says you got to be careful driving it around because people don't respect you at all.
Oh, no.
Bus drivers call his car El Estorbito, or the little nuisance.
That's the name of it.
Look at it. But it's very popular in Bolivia. It's made in Bolivia, can be plugged into any outlet. Costs for this person that they're quoting about $8 a month to get around.
What is
top speed
miles
per hour?
Charge?
35 miles per hour. It'll only go about 60 miles per charge. But if you just drive it around town, perfect, by the way, for Chihuahuas, Micah.
Like a sergeant.
I
I would totally drive this around Bainbridge.
Yeah,
our speed limit's top out.
It's a getting around town.
That makes sense around the island.
Yeah. Anyway, I saw a lot of Chinese cars. There's a brand called Yo-Yo, which
it is amazing how many more brands you see in Europe.
Yeah,
than you get choice.
And they're small because there's no parking. Right. You got to fit in. It's so cute because you're walking along, and people aren't allowed to have cars in the center of Rome unless they live there, and they're trying to park and watch. And if you have a normal sized car, the streets are this wide. And there are no sidewalks, so you're walking down the street, and it's dodging cars all the time. And I said, well, I'm sure they never hit anybody. So Lisa looks it up, and it's like there's thousands of casualties a year of cars hitting people. This was very popular.
Casualties or just injuries?
Casualties is injuries. There's deaths. I don't know. Yeah,
I thought casualty was death.
No, I think casualties is just, I don't know. Well, I meant injury. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Let's look it up.
So they're not death.
Let me ask.
They're just
Bing
injured?
Chat. How many?
It's like getting hit by a small car versus like a Ford F-150
in Rome,
probably
due to pedestrian. I should just say pedestrian deaths. That would be pedestrian deaths occur
unless you
in
want to
Rome
include bikes
each year. I was seeing a lot of e-bikes, which was very. Oh, it's not too bad. 59 a year. That's not so bad.
Oh, dude, we get like that in Seattle in like
I know.
2 months.
Yeah. Here's an article from China. Yeah. Roman roads are becoming like the Wild West for pedestrians. 59. Come on. That's nothing. On the other hand, on the road, 2,395 people died in road accidents. Lisa looked that one up when we were in a cab going 90 miles an hour to the airport. She literally, she looked up how many people die on the highway in Italy. So
remember when the volcano went off in Iceland?
Yeah.
I made it to the last flight out of Europe from Berlin to Munich. A guy who convinced these 2 women that I was a longtime friend of his. I'd never met him before, but I need to get to Munich. And they let me into their car, their last rental car they get out of Berlin. And I'm sitting there in the back calculating kilometers to miles.
Oh, yeah.
We were going 120.
Miles an hour?
Oof.
Miles an hour.
Ooh,
that's awesome.
On the Autobahn. Yeah, I did the same thing. We were going 131 kilometers an hour, and I found out, that's only 80 miles an hour. That's nothing. U.S. Supreme Court will not review a decision that says AI can patent inventions. Got to be a human. Computer scientist Stephen Thaler challenged the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. You remember they refused to issue a patent for inventions his AI system had created. The justice had said, no, we don't even want to talk to you. They declined to hear the challenge. So I think that means officially, right? The AI cannot patent anything. A human has
Can't get copyright and they can't patent, which is really interesting then when you turn back around and say, well, then am I really stealing your content if I can't patent it?
Right.
I can't copyright it?
Right. There was a really good article in the New Yorker by a guy named Jaron Lanier, who was I have mixed feelings about. Jaron was a very early pioneer of AI. I'm sorry, VR, literally 20 years ago.
Books like this.
Yeah, and he wrote a really terrible book called "You Are Not a Gadget." What's that one?
And 10 arguments for deleting your social media accounts right now. Okay, because you know better than us.
He was kind of anti-technology. But he did write, I thought, a very good article. It was published this week in the New Yorker about AI. And his argument is that, first of all, you shouldn't call it artificial intelligence. Names are important. And, because we've grown up in this milieu where AI, smart machines kill humans and stuff like that. It's called There Is No AI is the name of the article. And what he really says is this isn't AI. This is a new way of collaborating. This is about social collaboration, because no AI makes something from whole cloth. It's all from previous human creations.
I'm going to agree with him about something.
He says, if the new tech isn't true artificial intelligence, what is it? In my view, the most accurate way to understand what we're building today is an innovative form of social collaboration. And I thought, that's fascinating.
Okay. So an interesting angle similar to what Stallman said, right?
Well, Stallman said you should never trust an AI because it's never designed to be factual, But what he's saying,
I thought he was saying how the AI is not necessarily quote unquote intelligent,
right?
It's
because it doesn't
basically.
Yeah, it's just a autocorrect. Yeah, and that's what we've been saying for a while. But I think this is an interesting way of thinking, and it goes back to this patent thing because it is generative, but it's generative from stuff humans made previously, right? So think of it more as that. He says, think of people. People are the answer to problems of bits. That goes back to his kind of overarching thing that he's writing about in that book, and You Are Not a Gadget and all of that stuff. He's become kind of a well-known anti-technology guy. But he's
yet
not
he started writing about VR? Is that what you said?
He created early VR. No, he was the guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very famous.
Okay.
What's the word he coined?
But yet he's against tech these days.
And there's a lot of folks, I think Tristan Harris is an example, and others, where they've seen the burning bush. After they've cashed their checks, after they've made their
there it is. Okay.
They say, oh my God, it's terrible, and I'm going to save you all from what I helped create.
Right.
Well, what if they're not cashing their checks? What if they just are like, they were naive. They believed in what they were doing. They created it. They thought it would be used for good things. It wasn't. They thought it would get better. It didn't. And now they're like, oh, screw it. It's
awesome.
I feel like that's where.
Or he's coming with an informed point of view because he's he created stuff.
Or he's exploiting this to get more attention.
I don't think he made a pocket of money on all of this, frankly.
Well, he's making money on these books, like
Professor Jaded Jarvis.
Terrible.
Yeah, You Are Not a Gadget. Who Owns the Future? Dawn of the New Everything. 10 Arguments for Deleting Your Social Media Accounts. And his You Are Not. There Is No AI. I think is.
But I will read this piece with an open mind because
I would like you to. I'm sorry that, but next week we could talk about it. But I think it was really good. It's New Yorker. It's not the Daily Mail.
It can be.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I thought I'd already used up my free articles this month, so I didn't. I'm printing it out right now.
You know what?
You're printing it out.
Yeah.
Well, for things that the book that I underlined.
I pay for the New Yorker, but Condé Nast is so screwed up that I can never log in. The only way I can actually do it is in my Apple news thing, I can read it, or with the New Yorker app, I can read it, but I can never read it on the web. They think I'm not a member, even though I am, and I log in, and it says, "Oh, good, welcome. Your account is good. You're in." And then I go to an article that says, "No, you got to subscribe." They have to. Would you please talk to your friends over there? It's the worst system. It happens to me with Wired too. It's and Vanity Fair. I subscribe to Wired, Vanity Fair, and New Yorker.
Wow.
And none of them work right. It's terrible. Anyway, sorry. Diatribe over. U.S. Supreme Court has taken a case that may interest you. They agreed on Monday to consider whether the First Amendment does indeed bar government officials from blocking their critics. Now, you may remember there have been a couple of cases around this. Donald Trump was told that he could not block people on Twitter.
As president, right?
Actually, I take it back.
An official.
They agreed to review it, but then he left office and they decided it was moot. So
Right.
they dodged that bullet. Ooh, interesting. So we don't know how they're going to rule on this. The justices took up an appeal by two members of a public school board from Poway, which is down in Southern California. Lower court ruled in favor of school parents who sued after being blocked from Facebook pages and a Twitter account that the officials maintain. Now, this isn't a private account. This is their official school board account. Yeah. And the parents, I think quite rightly, said, no, if you're going to have a official school board account, you can't block us because you don't like our responses to this.
I agree with the parents.
They also took up an appeal by a Michigan man of a lower court's ruling against him after he sued a city official in Port Huron who blocked him on Facebook. So they've got cases going in both ways. So the issue is whether a public official's social media account can amount to governmental action bound by the First Amendment. And I didn't realize that they mooted the Trump case. I forgot that.
Completely forgot that.
Yeah. He lost in the lower court, though, and did have to unblock those people. And that's why I thought he lost in the Supreme Court. They just never did decide that. So this will finally decide that. What's a credible argument saying a public official on Twitter, that's public pronouncements, right? You shouldn't be able to block people. I guess
let's play devil's advocate here. Is that if trolls and bots and opponents come in and do nothing but attack and attack and attack to make it useless?
Well, you could block a non-human
affecting the speech.
But let's say it's a human, huh?
Even so,
then you have to. The platform doesn't have a way to prove humanity, or it doesn't enforce proving humanity. So then you've got, then you've just created a digital system of proving you're a person.
Well,
it's a good thing we're not in the Supreme Court because we can't decide.
It's a good thing we're not Congress. Actually, it's not.
It's a good thing.
I don't know. Are the best I've heard over the last couple months.
The best thing in the world, which is podcast hosts. God bless them.
We're pundits.
Only the pundits and the podcast hosts ran the world.
If only. Would be okay. That's what George Burns once said. He says, it's a shame that all the people who know how to run the government are working as barbers or taxi drivers.
Facts.
Schools bought millions of Chromebooks 3 years ago, and now they're starting to break, which is causing the U.S. Public Interest Research Group Education Fund to complain, saying that cheap Chromebooks, due to their short lifespans and lack of repairability, are less sustainable and more expensive for schools than pricier devices might be. I don't know what they're talking about. Windows, Windows
you
laptops?
agree with that?
No.
They're upset because they have an 8-year lifespan. Google's we'll promote we'll keep updating Chromebooks for 8 years in school. That's kind of a long time.
They're saying these things are crap. They call it, the report was called Chromebook churn.
Was the problem the update or the problem the hardware?
Problem was that
so they have two problems. They have one is the update, and the other is the fact that the keyboards keep breaking. But that's also a function
Apple
of
too,
and it's hard to get repair parts. But yeah, you give a K through 12 student,
what do you
anything, Give him an
Beat up
iPad.
MacBooks.
That ain't going to last a year.
Give a computer to Stacy. She's going to beat it to death within months.
I will have you know that my computers last at least 5 years.
How about the keyboards? How long?
Lies.
How long the keyboard?
This keyboard has lasted for... I've had this keyboard for like a decade or more. Actually, I think 2 decades.
It must be masochistic. It's a masochistic
losing its
keyboard.
letters.
No. Wow, you have had it a long time. If the letters are wearing off.
The A, the S,
Wow.
the M, they're all going.
The M, that's interesting. You would expect
The
it
A
to
is
be
gone.
ETAIONSHRDLU, the most used letters.
They're on Shrewdloo.
I don't know if
Oh,
you
yeah,
can
that's
see
an
them.
old one. Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's not a computer. That's a keyboard.
Yeah, well, that's what I was asking.
Oh,
'cause-
here's my
Yeah.
missing letters. See? No A.
A laptop would not be able to stand your abuse.
Oh, no.
Oh,
She
no.
doesn't have a laptop. She's got a desktop.
No.
No, I have a laptop, but I have a docking station.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
smart.
this is a better keyboard.
You're
That was
smart.
cheating.
Yeah. Perg says, well, you should double the lifespan. If you did, you could cut emissions by 4.6 million tons of CO2, blah, blah, blah. They say Google should make it easier to unenroll Chromebooks from remote management and should install remote operating systems, Linux. This is so uninformed. It would make
You're a sixth grader in Linux.
Yeah, this is moronic. Google's response is, we work diligently with our hardware partners to increase the years of guaranteed support Chromebooks receive. Since 2020, we provide 8 years of automatic updates, which was up from 5 even. You give a kid a laptop, 5 years.
Yeah.
Look at the books last 5 years. Up 5 years in 2016. We're always working with our device manufacturing partners to increasingly build device. You know what? Yes, it's true. If you buy a $200 Chromebook, it's not going to wear very well. But you're saying, what are you going to get? A $200 iPad? Nope. You're going to get a $200 Windows machine? Nope. I don't understand what their proposition is.
No.
Give them a wooden block. It'll last longer. How about a slate with a piece of chalk?
Chalk.
I got a tablet for you, all right.
Yeah, I got your tablet. All right.
What were those books?
form,
The
just
writing
like you
books
said.
from colonial times, like a primer or primer?
Yeah, primer, yeah.
A horn book.
Horn book. There you
A
go.
horn book. That's it. Yeah. I knew you guys would know that.
Because we're that old.
He remembers it.
Yes.
He actually remembers
Remember them fondly.
It's cool. Yeah. Back when he and Hester Prynne were in 4th grade and he dipped her pigtails into the inkwell.
Got hers.
She got hers. That's right. That's right. Tesla has won good news. There is some good news for Elon in the week's rundown.
I don't like that.
Tesla won a lot. Well, there's some bias. I think we've just uncovered
There
some
is
bias.
indeed.
There's some bias. Tesla wins a lawsuit over Autopilot Model S crash. 2019 accident. Justine Shu sued Tesla after her EV swerved into a center median on an LA city street while Autopilot was engaged. She's just going down the road and all this happened to me, used to happen to me all the time with my Model X. It would just decide some days, I think I'll drive that way. She sought more than $3 million, alleging defects in the software and the design of Tesla's airbags. She suffered a fractured jaw, missing teeth, and nerve damage. The jury said not Tesla's fault. Tesla's defense was, hey, we told you shouldn't use it on city streets. The jury awarded her no damages, said the automaker did not intentionally fail to disclose facts about Autopilot. Not Tesla's fault. Jury did not. Maybe the jury likes Elon.
Meanwhile, Elon's self-driving rocket made a lot of damage.
Now this is
There's new video. I know, but there's new video you might want to just look at.
Oh, where is that?
Down at line.
Give me the line.
Oh, you want the line? Line 76.
76.
Finally got the
This is a
cameras in.
TikTok of the SpaceX. Oh, well, this is just the damage done on the ground.
I know, but
But that's not that's not because the rocket blew up. That's just what happens when
no,
you're
it's
near
because
a
he
rocket.
didn't have a flame
That's 'cause he
diverter.
didn't
No,
do the-
that's because he didn't build the appropriate safeguards
camera.
for
Oh.
handling the thrust of the many engines.
Oh, yeah, because we've seen
He admitted to that, right?
remote
Yeah,
cameras.
he tweeted about not wanting to put one on.
Yeah.
Hey, if you go all the way down to Boca Chica, Texas. However, the fact that the thing blew up is widely considered not to be a bad thing. It was the first time they'd launched it, and it got very high, and they learned a lot, and blah blah blah. It was a test.
They learned, but the big issue was it blew up. They believe one of the reasons it blew up was because they had insufficient ground protection.
Oh.
And so when they had, he kind of caused his own problems and I get not wanting to, if that feels like a safety regulation that you can ignore. And
so there was damage caused in the launch, which is why the rocket went off course, which is why they had to blow it up. But it's a test. Yes. So he's learned a lesson. And Elon, you've learned your lesson.
But we already knew this was.
I know.
I know. I'm like, we don't have to reinvent this wheel at the cost of.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. The space guys, we have space experts at the network. Rod Pyle and Tarek Malik of This Week in Space. They said it was a success.
Looking forward to this.
Then I wonder what Rod will say. We're going to have him on the Ask the Tech guys on Sunday before he does This Week in Space. I wonder what he'll say with this new knowledge, because I don't think they knew about the shield. They did know about the shield? Did they know all about the shield? Okay. And they still say it was a success.
So they still think... people...
I will take it to him. I will say, my friend rocket scientist Stacey Higginbotham...
Not a rocket scientist.
I'm sorry, brain surgeon Stacey Higginbotham
famous epidemiologist.
I stayed at a Holiday Inn last night. That's it.
Right.
Humble rocket scientist.
Humble rocket scientist.
Penurious humble rocket scientist, Stacey Higginbotham.
So are we now in the TikTok segment? Was that your secret plan?
I had no TikTok corner today.
Oh,
all
right.
I tried, but I found nothing. I watched a lot for you.
What in your vast TikTok experience? What is your take on talk this day? Is it? It feels to me like it's kind of decline. Like the content is kind of going downhill. Maybe that's because my son no longer posts there. He posts on Instagram. But it feels like it's not as satisfying as it used to be.
No, I still enjoy it. For me, it varies day to day, Leo. The algorithm's kind of having a bad day sometimes.
Maybe that's it.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Some days it's better than others.
We mentioned go ahead, I'm sorry.
When I'm in there, it seems to be all right as far as showing me things that I would like.
Do you get a lot of musical theater?
No. Oh, gosh. Thank goodness.
I like to tease you.
It's doing so much better for me. I will say that.
There's a business model. We would pay TikTok to show Ant musical theater.
Stop it. Just stop.
There was apparently one thing you might be interested in this completely posed picture of Sundar Pichai in his cargo pants. Some have hypothesized, note that a little bit of this picture down there in the lower left is kind of blurred out. Some have hypothesized that maybe was a fold, a Google Fold.
Like a little fold Easter egg?
A little fold Easter egg, perhaps. Doesn't look like one to me, but remember, it was blurred. It modified, perhaps.
Line 47, we have video of...
You want to see the TikTok video of the fold? Or, I'm sorry, Twitter video. This is from Zarakshi. Whoever. Oh, it's Polish. So there's the fold. Do you think that's it? It looks a lot like a Galaxy Fold.
I don't know.
Maybe a little bit. No, the aspect ratio is more like 3:2, don't you? It's interesting. It's more square.
The hinge.
Open, it folds, closed. It folds open.
Stacey, how's your flip holding up? Is it still? Do you have any weird creases or anything on this Samsung? You don't use it though.
I do. Time we have this conversation.
I know. But
don't use the
I keep trying to get you to tell the truth. So you do use it. The Galaxy Flip. I sent it to Stacey. I know she doesn't use the Kobo, and I'm waiting for her to tell the truth about
Well,
it.
the Kobo she found,
Yeah.
she found mind-boggling.
Unusable.
Like it was like
Well, I didn't know what it was. I was like, what? Huh?
I found the
like
box.
everybody loves Raymond's parents with. Why are you sending us a fruit every month?
Why
did you
of the
send us
month?
the Kobo?
Terrible. I found the box, and if I'd known, I would have said it in the box, and then you would have had a better idea of what the hell that was. But anyway, but the flip, you knew what it was because I told you I was sending that, and you do use it, and you flip it all the time, and it hasn't,
flip it.
and it's held up.
It's held up. I don't flip it. I don't. It's not a that function. It's more just like a. But
in order to use it, you have to open it.
Yeah, I think I leave it open sometimes. So I'm not great about always
Does that
closing
negate
it.
the flipping?
Well, no, just like because if I'm like on the couch and someone asks me something and I'm like, oh, hold on, and then I just put it down. I don't always close it.
Yeah.
So I also throw my phones around a lot. I'll be honest.
And it survived, which is good.
It survived.
So the whole reason I asked this is I'm kind of the opinion these folding screens, I haven't had great results with their longevity, but you are, and that's good. So maybe Google should do a fold. What do you guys think? The rumor is they'll announce it in June, right?
I would not pay what their rumored price is, but we'll see.
Almost 2,000. But again, that's just
way too expensive.
Yeah.
You think they're not going to announce it at I/O?
Oh, I'm sorry. When is I/O? May.
May 10th.
I meant to say May.
Coming up.
Yeah. In fact, actually, good news. We will be sending people down to Google for I/O. Jason Howell will be down there, and Jason, Ron, and Flo will be doing a special, or is it Win?
Win to it down.
It's Win. We'll be doing a Win to Dow. We'll be doing. Or I've been told it's Win.
Win to it.
Win
to it.
Win to Dow.
Dow.
I can't say it right. It's Vietnamese. It's very hard.
You're getting close though. Keep trying.
Anyway, you know who I'm talking about. The wonderful Win to Dow, and those other people will be down there. They're going to do all about Android that day, that day. You and I, Jeff, and actually I want to invite you too, Stacy, if you want. We will be doing the keynote with Sundar, but we'll do it from here, our respective locales.
I had to say no. I'm sorry. It's because I record my show.
Yeah. No.
My
it was
show.
just an offer. It wasn't a demand.
Here's the question. Will he be wearing shorts?
I think he'll be wearing creased. Wouldn't that be hysterical if he wore creased cargo shorts?
It would be great.
Love that.
It would be great.
Anyway, so you and I, Jeff, will be doing the keynote.
I'm looking
all about Android. They'll be doing the show from down there. And then they're going to do a second show, which will be, I think, the following week. They've got 4 people from Google they're going to have on. They've done this before, so they're going to have some great information from Google I/O. Make sure you watch all about Android during the Google I/O 2023.
Trying to find out whether Google still does book talks like they used to. If so,
yeah,
doing that.
I've watched many of those on YouTube, and they're really great. Yeah, because you should. There you go. That's one more thing you could do out here.
Yeah, what about here? Yeah.
Put that on the list, man.
We'll give you a $1.50.
Is anybody from Google
fair.
still on? Let me know if you still do book talks. And
Yeah,
usually
Jeff's available. What's the date of that Commonwealth talk?
Commonwealth talk.
But I found these results on search.
You said
not you. Somebody who actually works at Google. They've rejected you. They've cut off all support for you. You're lost. You're nothing anymore. You're ex-Google. You're pathetic.
Did he just say you're nothing anymore?
He's so mean to Google. Good Lord.
No, I'm mean to the device that thinks it's still a Googler. It's just an employee who's now been laid off and doesn't know it, right?
Oh, gosh.
Where were we? Oh, the 25th of July at the Commonwealth Club in San Francisco, and the 26th I'll come up. I'm already having sweaty palms about the bridge. Honest to God.
Do you?
26th.
Okay. In my personal opinion, the fact that an AI could do a credible Drake song is not that exciting.
No.
Because Drake sucks.
Okay.
How about the weekend? What do you think of the weekend?
Oh, even
It's
worse.
okay.
Oh, well,
So,
It's okay.
Stacey needs some smelling salts.
He just pissed off Stacey. He didn't piss off our fan base, I'm sure.
So
Mon Dieu.
I'm a Kendrick Lamar fan. I think Drake is a little anyway.
Now you're talking.
Yeah, that's
I like
hip-hop.
Kendrick Lamar as well, but Drake, I mean, I grew up on Drake.
No, Drake's
And
fine.
yeah,
I'm just teasing.
he's-
Grew up.
Drake is the
He's-
Nickelback of rappers. Is that fair?
that
to
is
say?
fair. Okay, yes.
I'm just saying.
Oh, jeez. Oh. Is he Canadian?
That's a bit. Yes.
He is Canadian.
He is
yes.
Canadian.
He is?
He was on
Oh, I didn't know
Degrassi. He was a child star on Degrassi. He grew up in the hood.
Canadian.
If the hood is Upper West Side Toronto.
He grew up in the 6th.
Anyway, the reason I bring this up is a TikTok user named Ghostwriter977 created a AI-generated song with Drake and The Weeknd, but it wasn't Drake and The Weeknd. There's a Kendrick Lamar version of Off the Grid. There's Rihanna singing Cuff It. And these are all fake, AI-generated. Now, I listened to it, but since I think Drake is the Nickelback of rap, I was underwhelmed. But apparently the song, according to the Washington Post, sparked a panic in the music industry because it got...
Label,
and they
not
should
the
be.
artist, right?
They should be. Well, it's interesting. The artist response is a little different. But anyway, 15 million views on TikTok, 600,000 streams on Spotify. It is now hard on my sleeve. I can't play it for you because it's gone. It's been removed from all digital
Now,
services.
here's the question. Here's the question. Given the copyright discussion and trademark discussion we had earlier, not trademark, but patent discussion we had earlier, was it taken down because it was a copyright violation when in fact you can't
Is it?
copyright it and they were made up?
Is it?
Or
Yeah.
was it just because they didn't want to peeve the publishing house? Or we talked about this a little last week too.
Oh, of course. I'm sorry. Is this an old? This is kind of an older.
It's okay.
story.
It's okay.
We talked about this last week.
I did kind of want to. Well, I just wanted to diss Drake mainly.
How rude.
Mission accomplished.
Just so rude.
How would? But it goes back to this whole thing about you can't copyright or patent something an AI created.
Oh.
So why is it a threat? Because it sold a lot of songs, got a lot of spins. I don't know. This is really interesting. And actually, the Post quotes a law professor, KG Green, who said the history, and this is true, of black artists within U.S. IP law has been one of appropriation, degradation, and devaluation. And that's absolutely true, right? It took Elvis to take Little Richard's music and make it popular. Mm-hmm. Pat Boone, sorry.
Boone. Oh my God.
Yeah. Pat Boone singing Little Richard is something.
Boy.
There's a new movie
that
about Little
video.
Richard. A new documentary I can't wait to see. Love Richard.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, so you already talked about this. We don't have to bring it back. Grimes has tweeted that I will be glad to collab with any AI and I will share the profits 50-50. So she's addressed this and said, look, that's fine, but let's share in the profits. But if
Well,
you
how
can't,
do you share profits with?
Yeah, I was about to. How do you know?
Well,
there's profits when you
send the transfer.
if you have 600,000 streams on Spotify, you're getting something for those streams, right? TikTok, no, but
yeah, where are they sending that transfer though?
well, whoever did the AI, Ghostwriter,
Who's the entity?
Ghostwriter 977, I guess, right?
Right.
Ghostwriter shouldn't make any money on it because he's basically piggybacking on previous works by Drake and The Weeknd. So I apologize. I forgot this is an older story. I was all week. I've been.
Where have you been, man? Come on.
But then nobody was talking about it.
Cacio e Pepe.
By the way, the food is great in Rome. The music, well, it's weird. Italian pop music is very, very strange.
But you're not there to listen to music though. Anyway.
Well, but no, I enjoyed it. But it's just weird. It's just, I think Lisa, let me see if she posted a clip from one of these restaurants that we were in. Maybe not. I have a video clip of us enjoying some some fine pop music in an Italian restaurant. But I don't have I have anywhere to show you. Okay, that's that. I don't have anything more to say about that. Bad Bunny and Rihanna AI duet now.
Sure.
The fake Drake and the Weekend creator seems to be behind it. Fake Drake is actually a pretty good name. I'd copyright that.
Yeah.
Heart on My Sleeve is the Drake tune. Well, that was last Tuesday. Never mind. This is all old news. Forget it.
Well, I didn't put it in there. You put it in there. So don't blame me.
No, I did because I thought it was good.
I want to make clear.
I thought it was important.
Just stale. That's all.
Does it show, as Reason Magazine said, the potential for AI's future?
You want to see something?
Certain artists are going to be quite all right when it comes to AI. Because some artists, they're really talented and can put something out there that's going to be catchy, and
that's
AI is just not going to be that good.
Right. I think we don't have to worry about AI creations. I really don't.
I don't think so.
Well, and you don't have to worry. I mean, should you worry about it in pop music where familiarity is what we're usually going for?
You got to get.
Yeah, maybe. But
you got to get on the AM radio if you really want to make a hit. At least that's what I'm told.
Well, I don't think that AI could have
played AM to these kids here.
5,000 watts of power, huh?
It's time for the Google changelog. Google Authenticator has finally, but not so fast, added syncing.
You explained this to me.
For two-factor codes. So when I've long ago abandoned Google Authenticator because I get a lot of new phones. I'm always setting authenticators up. I don't want to have to go out and get all new two-factor QR codes. Actually, our security guy, Steve Gibson, solves that by screenshotting the QR codes, printing them out and putting them in a notebook, and then he has them when he gets a new phone.
Wow.
I'm not sure I'd recommend that. I, for a long time, have been using, we mentioned Authy, which would automatically sync to the cloud, do what this thing that Google's now doing. And now I've got one that's, I think, better, which is 2FAS. That's the one I used. It's free. It's open source. So, you can look at the code. It's not doing anything weird. And it backs up either to Google Drive or iCloud, but you encrypt it. It's end-to-end encrypted. So you encrypt it, and then it backs it up so only you can look at it. So that has worked out very well for me. Some have said, and I have to look into this, that this Google Authenticator backup is not end-to-end encrypted. Which would be problematic because, it means that if somebody could get into your Google account, they could just, restore your authenticator. So I don't, I haven't independently verified this. So, and
wouldn't this be a part of Google's strategy to make sure that it's encrypted end to end?
Yeah, I trust Google. I do. I totally trust Google's security, but they mention nothing about this. When they talk about this, they mention nothing about encryption, and I've seen some articles. Again, I haven't independently verified it that say it's not. So you'll know if it is or isn't. If maybe you won't. You'll still have to provide a password, but does Google keep that password? Is a question. So I'm not going to recommend it, but this is a feature that's been long needed on Google Authenticator. Here's 9 to 5 Google. I trust this. Google on why Authenticator Sync isn't end-to-end encrypted. They said that's coming later. So Musk discovered this, and I think it's very valid. Google today explained, says 9 to 5 Google, that they want to offer features that protect users but are useful and convenient.
But are useful and convenient.
Useful and convenient. Acknowledging that E2EE is a powerful feature that provides extra protections. The downside is users might get locked out of their own data without recovery if they forget their Google account password or whatever extra password they use.
That happens.
Yeah.
That's why you print them out and you leave them somewhere.
And
I'm serious.
If you lose
that's like
the
your recovery
two-factor
passwords.
If you lose the two-factor, it's not the end of the world. I think this is...
It's just expensive for Google because they have to talk to you and validate you.
Yeah, or,
They make it
okay,
easy.
you always have recovery codes whenever you set up two-factor, so you should always have those. And in most cases, you can turn off two-factor and then redo it. Because in effect, it's the same thing as when I get a new phone with Google Authenticator. I have to go out and redo it, right? Anyway.
Wait a minute. Hold on. So you're saying if I'm locked out, I have a way of
In most cases...
going in and turning off the 2FA if I'm locked out so I can get in? That don't
Actually, that doesn't sound secure either, does it?
No.
Never mind. Get end-to-end encryption. I don't think this is right. They are adding end-to-end encryption, however, for RCS group chats. This was in beta for a while. Google Messages starts showing end-to-end encryption for group chats. So
that's useful.
That is good. See, they like end-to-end encryption here, but not there. Google's making it much easier to search for tools in docs, sheets, and slides. You'd think as a search engine, they'd probably be good at this. They now have a search bar that allows users to locate tools and features using their own words. Whose words would you be using? Using Ant's words.
Well, rather than a paper clips.
Make it easy for me to search email in Gmail.
I see. You don't need to remember the specific name of the tool. You need a description of the features to suffice. So it's just the natural language, something Google's had for 15 years on their search. Okay, fine. Google ups Chromebook privacy. They're now adding a new camera and mic switch so you can turn off the camera and microphone system-wide.
Useful.
Yeah, the best thing, of course, would be to get a device that has a physical shutter. But microphone's a little harder. So nice, you can toggle it off. It'll be in the privacy control panel in Chrome OS.
So you can toggle it back on then?
Yeah.
Okay.
See this?
Toggle.
Toggle means on and off.
Well, no, but I meant if you turned it off for all applications, did you have to turn it on application by application again?
No. It's all for
Previously approved.
It's allow access.
It overrides.
It overrides it. That's right.
Okay,
I see what you're saying.
Thank you.
No, that's reasonable because normally you do that one by one. That's completely reasonable. Google Bard, which I don't know about you, but I've been less than impressed with Google Bard.
I've not opened it up.
Yeah.
I played with it.
I did open it up. Wait a minute. I did open it up when I got the little invitation, but I haven't opened it up since then.
Frankly, I pay for Chat GPT and I haven't opened it up that much either.
I think flash in the pan, man.
Yeah. You know what I did do, though, when we had an unscheduled stop in Genoa. We were supposed to go to Portofino, but the waves were too high. Went to Genoa, so I asked Chat GPT to recommend. I said, give me a 3-hour tour starting here. And it actually
3-hour tour.
It gave me a pretty good suggestion of things to do, and it knew, that's 15 steps, and you'll be able to do this, and you should be done in 3 hours. It was pretty good, and it gave me everything.
Bunch of Christopher Columbus stuff.
Yeah, Christopher Columbus's house. Very good. That's good, Ant. Google Bard now can do one more thing, something Microsoft's Copilot, GitHub Copilot can do, which is write, debug, and explain code. So they've added coding capabilities for C++, Go, Java, JavaScript, Python, and TypeScript. And you can, even with Python, export the code to Google Colab without copying and pasting. It's actually a very handy feature of these to paste in some code and say, what does this do or what does this mean? Especially with regular expressions, things like that are a little bit obscure. So that's
I'd be
pretty
curious
cool.
to see that because it was hard for me to understand a human trying to explain code to me, explaining classes and inheritance and stuff like that. So I'd like to see how AI could do it.
I've seen people claim that one of the advantages of this AI chat stuff is going to be as a teacher. And I have seen that in the past where you could say, well, explain monads to me and it would do very well. I just saw it from somebody well-known who said, what was this? That in a few years, your kid will learn to read from Chat GPT. That will be...
Okay.
Your kid can already learn to read from an AI. I mean, there are apps that you put on your iPad or your phone that will run them through the alphabet and
Right.
letters and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. It was somebody well known. I can't remember who it was. Google Assistant.
Maybe they don't have a kid and they're not aware of all that's happening in reading technology.
Maybe. Yeah. But a human taught your child to read, right? Or no?
A human and an app.
Really? Oh, neat.
Well, we
That's
were
really cool.
because, my kid they were dual language, so it took them a little longer to learn to read.
Oh.
So
What do they speak?
Spanish and English.
Oh, how did that happen? Did you send them to a Spanish school?
Spanish school.
Oh, you did? Oh, that's cool. That was in Austin?
That's so freaking awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
that's
regret
awesome.
not doing that, actually. That's a great.
Yeah, that was my argument for my husband, and I won that. Yay, I got to spend a lot of money
But
on
now-
private school tuition.
Yeah, woohoo. Are they fluent in both still?
Oh, yeah. They
That's
are
awesome.
amazing.
Did they ever
And they're-
complain about it or recognize the value of it early?
Oh no, they love knowing Spanish.
Yeah.
They actually love. They also know. They're not fluent in Mandarin, but they learned
What?
Mandarin starting in third grade.
Gosh almighty. Man.
Stacy. You see, now that's good parenting. Damn.
That's what's up.
This I've noticed already on my smart devices. Google Assistant shuts the hell up. I'm sorry. Stop speaking
It is.
after turning on smart home devices. In the past, I'd go, "Hey Google, turn off the lights," and go, and then sometimes Amazon does this too. They go, "Hey, did you know I can also close the garage door?" And it's like, no, just turn the diggity dang lights off. Anyway,
Got one job. Do it.
yeah. By the way, I hope nobody's home because they just turned off the lights. Whoopsies.
Sammy the cat.
The cats are not going to be happy, no. I think that they got a little too chatty, both Amazon and Google. Glad to hear they're getting it a little bit less. You probably covered this, Stacy, on your fabulous podcast with Kevin Toffel. Stacy on
did,
IoT.
Thank you. Yeah, Andrew, my husband, hates Google, and Madam A has had it forever, and he's like, "I hate you, Google. I hate you." And I get it. It is annoying because
Okay, turning on fan. Ah!
yeah. Okay, turning off. Actually, my birthday cake this year had, "Sorry, I can't help with that," because it was glitching.
Andrew has a sense of humor. The birthday cake said,
does.
"Sorry, I can't help with that."
And he's all right.
Yeah, I think is that whatever Google says. My
Yeah.
birthday cake.
Here's what I
had
found
written
on the
it,
web
because
about that. Yeah.
we eliminated. My birthday present was to eliminate my Nest Audios and Sonos speakers.
That's
so it was
hysterical.
like a little theme.
That's hysterical. You see that now sometimes, by the way, on Twitter replies. That the AI, that somebody's got an AI hooked up to their account, and they will say, "I'm not allowed to talk on that," stuff like that. Hysterical. Anyway, now you'll get.
It says, "Sorry, something went wrong."
Sorry, that was your
Something
cake.
went wrong.
That was your
That was my
cake.
Would you like to see a picture? Here.
Yes, that's
Copy.
awesome.
Oh, share. Let's see.
What do I have to do? Do I have to do something?
I'm going to create a link.
Do I have to click something?
And then you're going to have to click it.
How do
in
computers work? That's the question.
I'm going to stick it on top of the change log. So line.
Well, I'm already there, so that's good.
Paste.
That should make it easy.
Here we go. Boom.
Boom.
Oh, wait, nope, that's the wrong. Nope, don't.
Nope, don't want that.
No, that's that will.
Copy.
Oops.
That's
Whoops.
that's going to
That
be an
page-
edit link to
that
tomorrow's
page
podcast.
Can't be found. Nope, nothing there. Nope.
You know, sometimes cutting and pasting is so
It's
hard.
not ideal.
There you
No,
go.
It remembers the old thing. Here is Stacy's crazy birthday cake. Sorry, something went wrong. Andrew had a good sense of humor. That is so funny.
Yes.
That's brilliant.
That is awesome. I love that.
Yeah,
Oh.
he gives me great cakes.
Really? Is that his thing? So he's famous for that?
I mean, it's one of his things. We never put happy birthday on our cakes.
Oh,
We
that's
always come
cute.
up with some fun
Oh, that's great.
things.
You should do a retrospective of cakes.
Yeah, I want to see a gallery.
Yeah.
I should. I'll get right on that.
And that's the Google changelog. Final thoughts and picks of the week next, ladies and gentlemen, as we wrap up this thrilling, gripping, and only 2.5 hour long show. Our show today brought to you by Cisco Meraki, the experts in cloud-based networking for hybrid work. I tell you, it's really interesting. As much as some of these companies have fought hybrid work, employees love it. And I think now a lot of leaders are saying, this isn't so bad. Whether your employees are working at home or at a cabin in the mountains, at a lounge chair on the beach, a cloud-managed network provides the same exceptional work experience no matter where they are. And I got to tell you, you might as well roll out the welcome mat because hybrid work is here to stay. Hybrid work works best in the cloud. And yes, obviously your employees love it, but it's got perks for leaders too. Workers can move faster, deliver better results with a cloud-managed network. Leaders can automate distributed operations, build more sustainable workspaces, proactively protect the network. An IDG Market Pulse research report conducted for Cisco Meraki highlights the top-tier opportunities for you in supporting hybrid work. Hybrid work is a priority for 78% of C-suite executives. Why? Well, leaders want to drive collaboration forward while staying on top of or even boosting productivity and security. Security, of course, one of the challenges of hybrid work. The IDG report says, 48% of leaders report cybersecurity threats as a primary obstacle to improving workforce experiences. One of the things that's going to make a difference here, thanks to Cisco Meraki, always-on security monitoring. Makes the cloud-managed network so awesome. IT can use apps from Meraki's vast ecosystem of partners. Turnkey solutions built to work seamlessly with the Meraki cloud platform for asset tracking, location analytics, and more. You can gather insights on how people use their workspaces. This is actually great because if you have a hybrid workspace, you can actually have it be smart. So environmental sensors can track activity. They could track occupancy levels. They could stay on top of cleanliness. You can implement hot desking, but not sacrifice security so that employees can reserve workspaces, and then you can have time-based door access so, people can't just wander in. You got all sorts of power to do this, which is fantastic. And it lets employees quickly scout out a place to work, have access to it without compromising your security. Mobile device management is very important too these days. Integrating devices and systems will let IT manage, update, and troubleshoot company-owned devices, even when that device and that employee are in a remote location. Turn anywhere into a place of productivity. Empower your organization with the same exceptional experience no matter where they work with Meraki and the Cisco suite of technology. Learn how your organization can make hybrid work. Visit meraki.cisco.com/twit. MERAKI, meraki.cisco.com/TWIT. We really thank Cisco Meraki for supporting the show. You support it, when you go to that address. So make sure you do that exactly as I specified. Meraki.cisco.com/twit. It's that /twit that really makes a difference. And we thank them so much for their support. Stacey Higginbotham, did you bring a thing? Oh, muted.
Oh.
Unmute.
I did. I have the most exciting thing for y'all today.
Oh, wow.
Do you know what this is?
Oh, is it electric compact?
No, it is the Aquara FP2 millimeter wave sensor.
Oh.
This is, according to Stacy, the hottest sensor coming on the market in 2023.
So millimeter wave I'm aware of because that's what they use at the airport when they go whoop, whoop, and they scan you for arms and stuff, right? That's millimeter wave.
Right. It is. So they're actually using radar. They're not using the same frequency.
Oh, it's not the same frequency
scheme over the.
And what would you use this cool little thing
scanning
for?
for?
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Oh, all right.
I was like, don't worry, I won't leave you hanging. So they showed this off at CES. This is a presence detection sensor. What's cool about it is instead of like a traditional PIR sensor, what it has with the radar, you get a little bit more granularity. So this will actually detect the number of people in a room. It also can be placed on the ceiling and used as a fall detection monitor.
Oh.
And just for fun, it measures lux, so the amount of light you've got in a room.
So PIR is infrared. So when I have, for instance, my Hue lights have a motion sensor. That's just an infrared beam, and if I break it, then they know I'm here and they turn the lights on, right?
Yes.
This is like radar.
Yeah, this is radar. And so what it allows you to do, like I said, multiple people. So that's pretty cool. It also allows you to finally kind of block off an area and create different zones.
Oh, I'd like that because sometimes the lights turn on when I don't want them to because I'm in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you could have your lights turn on when you hit a specific zone. Or
yes.
like if it's in your bedroom and your bed is the zone, you could be like, when 2 people hit this zone, lights out.
The other thing is...
Oh, that sounds romantic.
Where are we? What happened?
You could also do 2 people hit this bed, play romantic music, whatever.
Oh, so it can count how many people are in the room.
Right.
Oh, that's really neat.
It does best with 3, but it is up to 5. The downside. So here are the downsides.
3. If you have 5 people in your bed, maybe you should consider
maybe like your living room. Like if everyone's sitting down. If one person's at the dining room table, maybe it's your kids studying and you know that. So then you have brighter lights.
I do like the fall detection idea because my mom, 90, I'm very worried about her falling. I'm not going to put a camera. She wouldn't want a camera in there. So I can't see her, but I would.
Mind your own business.
Yeah, exactly.
So here comes a couple caveats so far. And I've been playing with this only for 24 or 48 hours. So I have not gone through all of them. I'll have a review up soon though. Like next week. Okay. Caveat 1, it's wired. And caveat 2 is for fall detection, it will only be used for fall detection. You can't use it for anything else if you're using it for that. Because the best placement for fall detection is on your ceiling, provided your ceiling is only 9 feet tall.
A caveat.
That's in old houses, right?
Yeah. These are, it won't work in my living room because it's a cathedral ceiling, but for my study, we could have fall detection in here. So those are some of the...
we made her laugh so hard.
Yeah.
We'll go off.
Or I just swooned. So, but this is literally it's sold out already. It is it's $83. It's $82.99 over at Amazon, where I believe it is still sold out. But it's a really interesting device, and I'm really excited to play with it because it's going to allow way more complicated smart home integrations and fall detection.
And we have established that there is nothing to fear from millimeter wave radar.
Well, what do you mean nothing? What kind of fear?
I don't know.
Radiation.
It's not going to scramble my eggs or anything, is it?
Oh, no. Okay. Millimeter wave's pretty... This isn't even as strong as the airport machines, but also...
Scramble my eggs.
There is something, it's worth thinking about this.
Breakfast is ready, and I didn't do anything. Oh, yes, that's thanks to the presence sensor FP2 egg scrambler. When it sees people in the room, it scrambles their eggs. I'm sorry, it's not that powerful. With
this sort of, when it's detecting falls, it's detecting a specific type of disruptive pattern in the millimeter waves, right? So it's shooting out the waves. It's a fall looks like this. It is possible, because these are high precision, to detect things like people doing things or people. I always use the example of, if they wanted to, they could create an algorithm to measure if you kick your dog or not.
Yeah.
So just because it's not a camera doesn't mean it can't share information that you still wouldn't like having out in the world.
Interesting.
But they do have to build an algorithm for it.
It's got a USB-C port. Is that where it gets its power from?
Yeah. And I mean, if you got to mount this on a ceiling, you're going to have to, when I'm going to test that, I'm going to have to put an extension cord in because the cord is probably...
I have PoE in my ceiling. I guess I could get, there must be something that will take Ethernet and turn it into regular electricity. It only needs 5 watts. So that would probably be.
Yeah. And it's got a micro USB. I guess. Hold on. That was terrible.
USB-C, it says. Yeah.
Sorry, USB-C. And then it doesn't have Matter. It does support HomeKit. And then, So HomeKit, the Acquire app, if you want fall detection, you have to do it only through the Acquire app. If you put it through Google and Amazon, it supports only Presence, not Lux. And if you do it through IFT and HomeKit, it supports Presence and Lux.
Here's a question. You think we'll see more of these kinds of things? I mean, this is the first I've seen, but I presume it must be doable.
I've been talking about this for years.
Yeah.
RF sensing is the new hotness in smart home. And actually, the latest Ecobee, the presence detection, the people detection, the latest Ecobee thermostat is radar. It is millimeter radar.
Nice.
Because it's more precise. It, PIR works in the dark, but it really works in the dark.
Right.
So it has a lot going for it.
It's very interesting. How much?
This one's $82.99.
Ooh, it's a little pricey, but I guess you wouldn't get more than one per.
Well, if you want to do fall detection, you have to put one in each room that you care about falling in.
That you care about. You can fall in the kitchen, Mom, but don't fall in the living room because I couldn't afford to have a sensor there. My pick of the week is a mouse pad for your mouse. So it's like a mouth pad.
Wait, what?
What? So you put... I'm not going to actually pick this. I thought it was kind of interesting.
This thing is not available, or you'd be buying it.
It would actually. This is really for people with injuries that affect their mobility.
Yeah, which does.
But you could. You could in theory use it. It's a tongue-driven interface that basically acts like a trackpad. So you could do your computer, your smartphone, your tablet. Uses Bluetooth. It's invisible. You run this goes in your on your palate, your upper mouth, and then
I don't know what peanut butter does.
Don't take it out before. It only goes for 5 hours too, so you probably want to take it out before you have a peanut butter sandwich. But it's a kind of an interesting idea. Yes, absolutely could be an accessibility thing, but I don't think they're pushing it that way. I think they're promoting.
Scoble will use this before you know it.
Yeah. Yeah, Scoble will walk around.
You use it to scroll TikTok when your hands are busy.
Well, or better yet, surreptitiously now that you're wearing your specs and you need something to control them, I think we're going to see some surreptitious ways to control stuff like that, right? Okay, Jeff.
Great.
Never mind. This is the mouse pad.
It's not going to be very subtle.
From Augmental.
How do you click?
Tech. There's a click. You could tap your tongue.
Yep.
And
Jeff,
should really push that.
Give us a number.
Okay.
I was going to do creased cargo pants, but I feel like that's probably.
Oh, sorry. We took that away from you. You stole enough from me over the years. So I'm actually going to give a book. I had Ben Smith's book in there because it's coming out.
I pre-ordered it. Thanks to you.
Kayla Lorenz has her book coming out. Imminently.
Maybe we can get her on the show.
Online.
What's her book about?
Story. Extremely Online, the untold story of fame, influence, and power on the internet. Just up our alley.
Is it a biography or is it about other people?
I think it kind of is, probably. I don't know. It's coming out later. And then I just saw a book that we might all like called Keith Houston's Empire of the Sum, The Rise and Reign of the Pocket Calculator coming out.
Oh, I got to read that.
And then, of course, I have a book coming out in June called The Gutenberg Parenthesis. So 2 tricks here. One, you can go to Barnes & Noble between today and the 28th of this month, and you use the code PREORDER25, and any book that's not out yet, you can get 25% off.
Oh. Including your book.
Including my book. You bet. Now, the other thing.
Your cut, though?
I don't care. Authors don't care.
You know what? If you don't want to do that, if you go to Bloomsbury directly, they'll give you 10% off. So they
give you 10% off.
Yeah.
But now the other thing is, the other trick that I have out there is I've come to love the British book company Blackwell's. I love going to their store in Oxford. I've loved it. Turns out you can buy most any book from Blackwell's, and they give you a good discount and free shipping. You can buy American books and British books. So if you buy the Gutenberg Parenthesis, $27 MSRP, they take $3 off, but free shipping. Versus Barnes & Noble, they take 25% off, but they charge for shipping unless you hit a certain amount. So shop around, figure it out. But in any case, all of us folks who are going to be pushing our books to you, here's Ben's book, Taylor's coming out, Keith's coming out, and mine coming out, the Gutenberg Parenthesis. today to what's today? Friday, I guess, is a good time to pre-order anything you want out there, including mine.
Barnes & Noble, 25% off with the code.
Pre-order 25.
Pre-order 25. And Blackwell's, just because we want to support Blackwell's because they're great.
Because they're really great.
Yeah. And they will.
So, by the way, the other number I was going to have is in the story about Sundar's income of $266 million, which is kind of ridiculous because it's a whole bunch of stock and who cares. But they calculated it's 800. Was it 800? The calculation of what it is to the median income in the company. It's an 808 to 1 ratio.
Oh boy.
And the company used as their median for all employees. You guys want to guess what that is?
Oh, $183,000.72.
$279.
Whoa.
$279,800.
That's a good median salary.
Yeah, for those of those.
That means half of Googlers make more, half of Googlers make less.
Right.
And there's one guy right in the middle. He's the Mr. Median. Mm-hmm. By the way, I want to clarify, Taylor's book is not about her. I'm just reading the summary. It's a history. It's a history, the untold story of fame, influence, and power on the internet, but not of her. It's a history of. But
she certainly has perspective.
Oh yeah, that's why I asked, because she's been
She's great.
A target. But yeah, she certainly has an experience of what unwanted fame on the internet can lead to too. Extremely online. All right. And what was the other one? That Keith's book.
Keith Houston's book. Keith wrote the book, which is a really well produced book about kind of the object of the book. He does good stuff. Empire of the Sum: The Rise and Reign of the Pocket Calculator.
I love that. That's a very.
I just saw that 2 minutes ago, because all the authors are out there on Twitter right now saying you can pre-order me.
All this stuff comes out in May for some reason, like it's the magic month.
I don't know why. This is all, they're all putting it up there because Barnes & Noble did the offer for any.
Oh, I see.
I think it's any pre-order.
Right.
There's another book you want.
A lot of books coming out in May for some reason.
It's ahead of summer travel,
I guess.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Those beach reads, like the sum of all history, or the Gutenberg.
Some doesn't come out until September.
Oh, some's out in September.
Okay. For the beach.
Okay.
This is a fascinating. I know a little bit about the story of the Pocket Calculator. It's fascinating, so I will absolutely read this. Aunt Pruitt, what you got for us?
Well, since he was talking about books, I just added one real quickly from Sean Powers, co-host on Floss Week.
Oh yeah, and he's coming up to do a special AMA with you, right, on Club Twit?
That is correct, sir. That is correct.
He wrote a kid's book, it looks like.
He started writing comments back when the pandemic kicked off, as part of his own mental exercise and for his own mental health. And it was a lot of fun for him. So he turned it into a book, and it's out for pre-order today. And I believe, just like you said, the whole Barnes & Noble discount is effective on it too. And it's called My Big Round World. And it's pretty good stuff. So shout out to Mr. Sean Powers. He's a good dude.
It started out because he couldn't draw arms.
Right.
Fitting a square personality into a round world, not just for kids, for everybody.
Yeah.
What else?
Good stuff. Next, I want to just give a shout out to Mr. Sharp. I know most Twit listeners don't know who he is or care, but Mr. Shannon Sharp is a Hall of Fame NFL tight end, and I love his story. And he's got his own show, but I've been just watching his journey as a Hall of Fame athlete. Then he's getting into the sports commentary side of things, and he just does so much work, so much research, and it really shows. And this latest episode on there, he's speaking with Steve Harvey. And that conversation between them just resonated with me personally, just because of how they came up, growing up in the South, and just the hard work that they did as just regular everyday life. Sharp talks about, being like 19, 20 years old before he used the bathroom inside.
Wow.
And that was in the 80s.
Yeah.
Because they grew up poor.
Well, it's like living in New Jersey. I mean, it's just tough.
Right.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
But it's just, I love the stories because he said a lot of things that it made me think about my grandparents. And I was like, yeah, I remember going to the farm and having to slaughter the hogs.
Wow.
It was a whole process. And I was like, yeah, these guys get it. And just seeing where they are now, going through all of that hard work and all of that struggle, nothing but respect for him and his journey. And lastly, I just want to say share Hardhead's videos with everyone you know, please, because that is part of my campaigning for said Hardhead because Dad does not want to pay for college.
How's it going?
Thank you very much.
How's it going? You got any bites?
Lots
any
of
nibbles?
phone calls, but hey, ain't nobody showing me the money yet. So
But you're a tough negotiator. I bet I could just see that coach sitting on your couch in your living room, and you going, "Well, yeah. What are you going to do for
the
us?"
Mercedes?
Well, and the thing is, Hardhead said it best himself. He's like, man, it's like everybody's trying to take me out on a date just to make someone else jealous.
Oh, that's not good. That's not.
I totally get that.
Poor
dude,
Jacob. So this is his huddle, and all you have to do is go to hudl.com and search for Jacob Pruitt. And then
share those
take those videos, send them to every coach you know. Lots of great. And you know what? They're fun to watch. This kid's good.
He's good.
This kid's
He's
good.
a good citizen.
He's a nice kid.
Citizen.
I'll vouch for him. I remember Jacob very well. Loved hanging with him when you first moved out here. He came over to dinner with the fam, and just the nicest boy.
Brown has reached out recently, and Columbia called today.
Brown couldn't be a better.
Oh.
Send him to Brown. I know some people in Providence. That would be a great school. Columbia, he'd be in New York
I'm here
City.
in New York at Columbia.
A couple of
somebody
the
there?
Ivy Leagues have been phone calling him.
Nice.
Dartmouth has called
League.
a couple times.
Does he have? He must have good grades. Then.
He's got great grades.
Yeah.
So that's
Because they're looking for
show me
scholar
the money?
athletes. That's the football programs aren't as important at these Ivies, but they're important. But they're not as important. They want a scholar athlete. So that's high praise.
Oh, that could be life changing. Yeah.
Brown, Columbia, Dartmouth, and
So he's smarter than you?
It depends. Depends on the question. I'll just say that. Depends on the question. Hey, have you done the dishes today? He can't answer.
What do you mean?
So.
What dishes? Dishes? What is that? Jacob. Yeah, go Jacob.
Yeah, Jacob.
Go Jacob. Huddle.com.
Thank you, Twit family.
Nice.
So one more quick mention, if I may.
Yes.
So I had a guest appearance on, and this is going to be, you're going to know it, and I didn't know, the Dan Lubitard show. You ever heard of him?
Sure.
I have. Yeah.
So he's a jock, right? It's a sports podcast. They want me on. I said, I don't know SHIT about sports. I said, no, I want to talk to Tucker. It's fine. So I go on. I do my spiel. Like 4 or 5 people came and said, my podcast stream's crossed.
Yeah.
You're on this one.
Guess we should know who Dan Lubitard is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dan Lubitard.
Twig fans are everywhere.
Nice.
That's awesome, man.
And we should catch up with that show so we can hear about you talking about sports. That'll be fun.
No, you never hear me talking about sports.
Okay.
I listened before I went on, and I had this flashback to why I hated going to the barbers.
Oh, it's like going to a barber
would
shop.
think, he's a boy. How about those Phillies? I was scared to death.
I'm on the chess club. I don't know
Exactly. I could do AV for you, Mr. Barber.
Ask me about film strips. I could tell you everything there is to know.
Dang, Mr. Jarvis, that's awesome you're on there.
You know who he is. He's a big famous sports podcast. Nice.
Yeah, it's cool.
Thank you, Aunt Pruitt. Hands on photography, twit.tv/hop. I will be watching the Rick Salmon interview about travel photography now that it's too late. What you got coming up?
Well, again, we're going to continue to talk about smartphone and smartphone photography and videography and just getting some use out of that. I have a special guest joining me this week, Miss Susie Botello.
She's great.
About the Mobile Film Fest. It's going to be a good show.
I have to say, phones have gotten so good. Whether it's the Pixel 7 or the S23 Ultra or the iPhone 14, I felt like I got every shot I wanted.
Yeah, I can't knock them. There are some things that I want a full frame sensor for, but for most people, a phone would do just fine.
Low light's if it was dark out, I wasn't able to get great shots. Right. And zoom, ultra zoom, and fortunately, Lisa brought her OM1, which is a very nice micro four thirds camera, so she was able to get that full.
She kills me how humble she is. She's really good
photographer, isn't she? Yeah.
But she's so daggum. Now I'm just hobbyist. Whatever. You could shoot.
She could shoot. Thank you, Aunt. Bye, Stacy. Stacy on IoT.com is her website. The IoT podcast with Kevin Toffel. Thank you. Have a wonderful week. You're not going to be here next week, I think, right? Or you are?
I am.
Oh, good. Thank goodness.
Be here next week.
Okay, good.
Okay.
All right. Sometimes I forget. Bye. She wants to go.
Bye.
And Jeff Jarvis, what?
Oh,
what?
Dude, watch the time.
He's the director of the Townite. Oh, yeah, she's got to go do that phone call. Yeah. How'd it get so late?
Dude, I have no idea.
What we do.
Gosh darn it. He's the director of the Townite Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism.
Just have too much fun.
At the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University in New York. They made you a new card because you have so many additional titles.
I was not busboy. I was kitchen manager at Ponderosa Steakhouse. I just want that corrected.
Oh, well, got to make a new one.
Wow.
New card.
Yep.
There you go. New card. Thank you, Mr. Card. JJ. Good to see you.
Jets Javros.
Just Jax Javros. That's his superhero name. We do Twit of a Wednesday afternoon about 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. That'd be 2100 UTC if you want to watch us live. The live stream is at twit.tv/live. You could chat with us live at irc.twit.tv. Of course, if you're in the club, you can always chat with us in our Club Twit Discord, a wonderful place to hang. After the fact, on-demand versions of the show available at twit.tv/twig. There's also a YouTube channel. In fact, there's a link there at twit.tv/twig. That'll take you to the YouTube channel if you want to share the video or you want to just watch it on YouTube. I think the easiest thing to do is subscribe in your favorite podcast player. That way you'll get it automatically as soon as it's done. Thanks to our producers and our staff and our team, all of who held down the fort while Elise and I were jaunting about. They did a great job. Thanks to all of you for that. And Jason Howell and Michael Sargent. And, of course, our studio manager, John Slanina. Benito, thank you. Jammer B. Benito, thank you for doing a great job on the board. Burke McQuinn for bringing a dog to work.
And doing all the things that Mr. Burke does.
Did I call the show Twit? You know it's not Twit. It's Twig. TWIG. And I hope you will be here next week. Bye-bye.
If you love all things Android, well, I've got a show for you to check out. It's called All About Android, and I'll give you 3 guesses what we talk about. We talk about Android, the latest news, hardware, apps. We answer feedback. It's me, Jason Howell, Ron Richards, WinTwit Dow, and a whole cast of awesome characters talking about the operating system that we love. You can find All About Android at twit.tv/AAA.